Salve, salve. Thank you, Ray Gomez, for the 5 Metatron memberships. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Ray. Very much appreciated. How you guys doing? Hello, noble ones. Hey, Leghetu. Daniele, ciao. Yeah, W for Ray Gonzalez, absolutely. Glad to see you here early, birdie wordy. That took me a second. Hey, Nicholas. It's about Rome, guys. It's about Rome. I got summoned. What can I say? It's not like they don't know. Who's Dave Smith? Can Aguero. I don't know who that is. Hey, Chaotic Symphony. Good afternoon. Yeah, I can't believe it's not butter. Hey, lay in bed day is good day. Fantastic. Oh yeah, I'm dressed for battle, alright. I'm dressed for battle, alright. Hello, hello. Cheers, Jams. Good to have you here. How you guys doing? Greetings. So we've got some stuff, guys. We got some Roman information that we need to double check, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we do. That's what we do with the power of pedantry, is it? What is it? Pedanticism or pedantry? What's the word? You teach me. You teach me. Always Golden Axe, absolutely. It's usually inside the Golden Axe of Warhammer when it comes to the music at the beginning, isn't it? Multi-stream viewer, nice. Yeah, I mean, Luis, yeah, he has, so on this episode that we're going to check out today, if the copyright spirits will allow us, is apparently the topic is common myths about gladiator fights. Now, you know me, so we're going to have to see if these myths, if they're not replacing myths with other myths, if the information is presented correctly. But the guests are, he's got 2 guests, Jay Okerson and Luis J. Gomez, and I believe them to be stand-up comedians, right? They're comedians. At least Gomez is a comedian, so it's not like I'm expecting historical accuracy, but it's still a nice opportunity to see if there is anything we need to correct a little bit of pedantic, you know? I think it's always good. It's Rome after all. You know, when you say Rome, boom, summoned in the Metatron. It is what it is, right? Hey, Night King, good to have you. Yeah, at least you don't know what Joe says about Vikings. Yeah, I'll have to check one out. Check that one out, right? Thank you, Night King. Appreciate the support. I appreciate the HD Lowrider. So yeah, so no, today's gonna be good. We're gonna check this one out. I prepared some iconography at the top because it's, you know, it's always good to kind of counter if there is anything that needs to be countered. It's always good to do it with iconography and with passages. Did a gladiator ever use 2 swords? Yes, Fireball. There is a specific gladiator class called Dimacaerus, which used 2 swords. It was literally dual wielding. So yeah, it was a thing. Oh yeah, they're funny. I see, Keenan. So you were saying both are comedians, both know nothing about history, but they're funny. That's great. That I'm looking forward to. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And then we got Sebastian Hola Hermano. Saludos desde Argentina. Wow, nice to have you here, man. I really like Spanish. It's a great language. Me gusta el idioma. Ray Gonzalez, quick question. Do you consider the Byzantine as the continuation of the Roman Empire? It's like, or do you classify them as a separate empire? A bit of both. Like, the answer to this is yes, but to both. So it's like a spin-off. Imagine it as a spin-off. Like you're watching a series, a game, a video game, and then they do a spin-off. That's what it is. It's a spin-off. Night King, off topic, but that guy from the Adam Savage video has a channel called Diligent Dwarves. He created a full gilded Tudor armor. It's awesome. I'll have to look it up, yeah. And then hopefully the second that different channel won't get us copy claimed. You know what's funny though? I actually edited yesterday because we only got when we were trying to react to Adam Savage on the episode about armor. And after 6 minutes, I got copy claimed, and we had to block the stream and do something else. Anyways, I took those 6 minutes and I edited it, and it came out to be a 30 minutes video, which means I literally spoke for 24 minutes. How are people calling that a reaction? It's not even a reaction. It's a pretext. It's a pretext. It's like I click something, I watch. So that it's a good idea. That's a good starting idea. But then if I add 24 minutes over 6, how is that a reaction? You only do reaction videos. How does that even count as a react? How does it even count? I add the 24 minutes onto 6. I just wouldn't shut up because they talked about cavalry masks. So I added, you know me. So then I found I added a little more during editing because I like going a little deeper, because at one point I was talking about this museum thing, and so I found the museum, I put the iconography on screen, I added a little voiceover to it, ended up being a half-an-hour video. Watch people in the comments, there will be someone saying, you're lazy content thief, you're just doing reacts because you're late. Yeah, okay, you do that. You do it. Yeah. I appreciate the thing there, but people use the word reaction to mean, why don't you make your own content? And I'm like, apart from the fact that I do, it's just that YouTube doesn't show you the notifications for those. But regardless of that, it's a completely different tangent. But even in those situations, it's, yeah, I mean, at that point, I would just prefer people saying, I hate you because I hate you, rather than having to find, no, it's because... It was funny, actually. When I rendered it, I'm like, how is this half an hour? I thought I reacted to 6 minutes, goodness gracious. Half an hour. So yeah, no, that will be posted soon. Lorica clothing today. Oh, that's cool. I'll have to check them out. Absolutely. You're the Spaghetti King. That's nice. Nice. Yeah, people just like being mad. That's what it is. Yeah. You're not entertained. Yeah, here we are, guys. We're going to talk about it. Just one of those things. So let's see. But it's fantastic to have you here today, guys. We're going to have a great stream. Also, I don't know if you noticed, there is something right next to me over here. Yeah, Laketu says, if you make a video based on content you found in a book, is that a reaction content? Probably not, but I understand where you're going, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, even when you talk about video games, is that a reaction? I'm reacting to the game when I'm playing the game. Is that because I don't own the content of the game? So yeah, it's just one of those things. Look at this. Look at what we've got. My very first Storm collectible figure. It's very, very new. From a new line based on Street Fighter Alpha, aka Street Fighter Zero, depending on which side of the world. And we're going to unbox this later during this live stream. I'm really looking forward to it because, I'll be honest, I like Ken. I like Ken a lot from the Street Fighter series. But Ken from Street Fighter Zero / Street Fighter Alpha is my favorite iteration of Ken because his hair is as long as mine in reality. Or maybe I should say my hair is as long as his. Doesn't matter. I like him. I think he looks great in this version. And yeah, so this is a lovely. It's an action figure, so you can pose him in a lot of different ways. And it looks fantastic. It looks really good. So this is gonna be, as I say, Storm collectibles. I usually unbox Jada toys. Storm collectibles are a little more expensive, but this one wasn't because it's very new. So I just decided I'll just buy it. My first collectible, so that's nice. Ryu is superior to Ken. So when it comes to Ryu, usually, I mean, canonically, Ryu was my favorite. It's just the Ken, as they split, and so they started being different and not just a skin. Ken has the coolest moves. He's got the axe kicks. He's got the, I don't know, he's got the coolest moves. So I think now I'm more into Ken than I am into Ryu. I used to be into Ryu. Now I'm more into Ken. Oh, Vega's my favorite regardless, but I'm saying in terms of gameplay. Yeah, Alpha has the best designs. They're all like younger. Yeah. So yeah. I agree, CTRL, actually, when you say a reaction. Well, what do you mean, though, when you say a reaction isn't defined by the length of the commentary? I appreciate you being pedantic, but that's not what I'm arguing. I'm arguing people say the reactions are bad. So we're not focusing on what constitutes as a reaction. I know I said that at the beginning. I was being hyperbolic. What I mean is that people often say reactions are bad because you just stay there, look at the screen, the other creator has done all the work and you're doing nothing, eating popcorn, and then that's the end of the thing. And I'm saying I absolutely understand that, and it's a fair criticism towards reactors that do that, which there are plenty, and make millions off of it. But then again, I was also saying the people that say that and apply it to me is in my opinion, is out of place, because again, 6 minutes is what the video I'm using, but the end result is 30 minutes. It means that 24 minutes are my original production. So at the end of the day, in that situation, I think is one of those React videos that, I mean, transformative, it's like we need a new word for it. So yeah. Missed this episode, says Justin. Not a huge, let me see. Not a huge fan of J or LJG fan. Were they accurate? We're going to check that together. I just know they spoke about Rome. And so I've been summoned. In fact, I think I'm going to jump into it very soon, very early in the stream, because I want to see if we get copy claimed so that I know. And if the stream gets blocked for copy claim, do remember that I know how to come back, and I'll be back in about 60 seconds. It's usually how long it takes. But thank you, Kinan, for the support. Surprised so many LOS fans I hear it's their pod. What's LOS? I don't know what LOS is, but yeah. Oh, this got my headphones got switched off. Yeah. All right, good stuff. Let's have a look. How are things on Twitch, by the way? Was Aue Caesar something people actually said back in the day, or is that also a myth? No, they did. It's in the sources. Absolutely, they said it. Absolutely. They just didn't do the right arm thing. They didn't do that. That's nonsense. The straight right arm, the so-called fascist salute, or the salute that the fascists copied supposedly or allegedly from the Romans. The Romans didn't do it in the first place. It's wrong. It's not true. That one is a myth. Cool. Let's see. I don't, Ken was asking me, no, I don't have a video dedicated to the Middle East in general. The only times I speak about the Middle East is usually when I speak about Roman Judea, so specifically focusing on the Roman era, because that's the area of expertise. I wouldn't have a problem making a historical video dedicated to that specific section of the world. I, of course, know why you're asking, and I have nothing against it. The historical truth can still be discussed, but I would have to partner with someone specialized on that. So I'm not against it, but it would be something that I would have to specialize on. So, sorry, I would have to kind of collaborate with some people that are more into that. Yeah. Do I have a video on the Persian Empire? No, The only thing Persian that I have is a playthrough of Prince of Persia 2 on my gaming channel. That's the only thing I have. As I say, not exactly my area of expertise. Cool. All right, so how about we test this? Let's see if we get copy claimed. I mean, if they copy claim me, I'm going to copy claim them out of my birthright. They're talking about Rome. So, yeah. How about that? So, yeah. I'm actually very, very curious. So, let's see what we get. And as I say, if I get copy claimed, guys, I'll try to kind of interrupt them. Let me remove the members now account for now. Also because it's gone up, because we got 5 members. So do let me change it very quickly. Well, I can do it later. I don't need to do it now. But yeah, there are 5 more members. I'll do it at the end of the stream. I'll change it. All right. So let's give it a try. I'm going to skip the little Joe Rogan experience. Well, let me just mute it for a second. Here he is.
Yeah, the Colosseum wasn't it completely underground at one point?
One second. They started.
The Colosseum wasn't it completely underground at one point?
Okay, the audio is too low. So he said the Colosseum what?
Colosseum wasn't it completely underground at one point? They discovered it?
No. The Sphinx was underground. But the head was above it, and then they cleared out the sand.
God.
The Colosseum
You came off stupid as shit there.
No,
I don't think it was underground. No.
Why is he saying wow? Well, again, these are comedians. Do remember that these are comedians. Okay, the Colosseum wasn't underground. I mean, no, the Colosseum wasn't underground. Maybe the only way I could say how he could have got confused by that is the section that is under the ground, because of course the Colosseum has a whole section that is technically underground. It was added by Domitianus. Let me say it correctly once. Okay, I'm not going to pester you with the Latin names, but at least once. So maybe that's what he got confused with. What do you guys think? Yeah, not even the foundations, when they put all the tunnels, chambers, and cells underneath so that they could lift up animals and soldiers and whatnot. That was added by Domitian later. So maybe that's what he was talking about. I don't know. But anyways, let's continue.
The Colosseum has always been there, but they did used to be able to get water in it. They used to have water fights. They have boat fights in there.
It was crazy.
Bro, imagine.
In Imperial, I'm going to interrupt him a lot, just so you know, so we don't get copy claimed anyways. The idea of the Colosseum being flooded, these are called naumachia, and they are basically recreated naval battles, and they can be done both for gladiatorial games or for criminal executions. So it could be gladiators on top of those ships, and they simulate the battle, and then the Romans go, wow! Or it could be criminals that are sentenced, and so they're like, okay, you go out on a fight during a battle, so the people, like a naval battle. So yeah, no, those were done in the Colosseum exclusively in imperial times until Domitian, or Domitianus, built the underground sections, and then they can't flood it anymore. But they did, they did do that. In the Republican period, they still did the naumachia, by the way, but they would dig, they would do artificial digs where they would put the water, so not in amphitheaters. They started doing them in amphitheaters, including the Colosseum, during the imperial times. I'm going to speak a lot today. Am I? Yeah, okay. Yeah, they call them water fights. That's fine. I mean, it gets the point across. I'm not going to be too annoying about it.
Really cool shit.
Watching people get eaten by lions in front of everybody. Imagine what that was like.
Well, back then, you understand, they didn't they would have these games, and they would bring in they would have hunts, and they would have animal fights and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's back then, to see a giraffe, it looked like an alien. They had no idea what they would bring in animals from Africa, like rhinoceros.
Yeah, these people didn't have YouTube. They weren't traveling.
They had no idea. It was it literally you're watching Alien.
Yeah, so I like that it went into aliens, which means I'm going to get a reptilian notification under my video, which is what happened last time. Something like that happened. Hey, make sure you understand who the reptilians are. Anyways, the point he's making is correct. He mentioned the rhinoceros, and he's right. Rhinos were used in the arena. I love the gladiatorial stuff, guys. So I'm gonna speak a lot here. So yeah, the rhinos are mentioned by two authors, Pliny and Marshall. And in fact, Marshall tells us that there was a rhino at one point that was particularly ferocious. So yeah, and also he said hunts. That's correct. And Joe Rogan is mentioning lions. When it comes to the lions, actually, it's really interesting. Lions were extremely expensive. Like really, a first-class lion would cost 150 denarii. That's a lot of money. It's been estimated that during the entirety of the Roman games held in the Colosseum, particularly under Pompey, aka Pompey the Great, glory to Pompey, 300 million sesterces were spent on lions alone. Over 500 lions were killed in the arena, as reported by Plutarch. So, yeah, they and he's right. I mean, when he's saying aliens, sure, there were animals that the Romans had no idea, at least the common population, and so they would bring them. They brought a whole elephant and put it. I know that's a lot of money. They put glory to Pompey. They put a whole elephant inside there is a specific entry to the Colosseum for big animals like that. So yeah, no, this. He's right. I mean, the Romans loved entertaining the masses with wild animal fights. So 100%. 55 BC is the one that comes to mind. Still with Pompey, by the way. It's mentioned that he brought a lot of, including monkeys, cynocephalus monkeys specifically. It's possible that that's what's the word? Baboons? In English? Baboons? Yeah. He was consul of Rome. Absolutely, yeah. Totally. You were saying North African lion got extinct, but it was stated that Rome had a particular attention to not damage the environment. Interesting. I haven't seen that specific passage, but very cool. It wouldn't surprise me that the Romans would do that. I mean, it's similar with some of the African elephants that, for instance, the Carthaginians used, exception being the specific elephant for Hannibal, that was from India. But that one was a special one, yeah. Anyways, cool. Yeah, starting good so far. Starting good.
Fight.
Have you been to the Colosseum?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Do you see those things where they lift them up to the floor and then the lions will pop out?
They had underground. They have a whole pulley system where like they have elevators and they would have slaves like pulling people up, and it was a whole show. It was a really cool thing.
I appreciate you saying slaves lower.
If they had that right now, we would watch it.
Yeah.
What did he say about slaves? Wait.
They have elevators and they would have slaves like pulling people up, and it was a whole show. It was a really cool thing.
I appreciate you saying slaves lower.
If they had that right now.
I appreciate you saying slaves lower. I don't know what he means. No idea. Maybe you know.
If they had that right now, we would watch it. If there's something on YouTube, like I've already seen. Have you seen the night fights where guys dress?
I mean, I would rather the animals didn't get killed, but I would totally watch a gladiatorial combat between gladiators. 100%, I would. I mean, we watch MMA. And those guys go really punchy in the face, bloody nose, everything. So, I would watch it. I would watch a gladiatorial match, 100%. The entry to the Colosseum Games was paid or free. Usually it's paid by the sponsor or the emperor. So it's for the people, right? Bread and circuses is the idea. So you don't need to buy a ticket. No, you just go. And that's how it works. Sometimes the organizers had to go into loans to pay for unless you're the emperor, which at the end of the day, you're basically using taxpayer money. So, I mean, they are paying technically the people, if you really want to look at it that way. Am I right? I'm going to review, David, the new video on the pyramids for tomorrow's stream. I'm going to leave it for tomorrow's stream. Yeah. Let's go.
Up in armor and beat the fuck out of each other.
Harrington does he does the commentary for it. He's like the Joe Rogan of night fighting.
That's so ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, shit.
They hit each other with battle axes and shit.
A scepter strike to the leg.
Oh, they're talking about Buhurt, I think.
But it's like they look tough and then they take their helmets off and they're just fucking virgins. It's like just these really nerdy fat dudes.
I don't know, man. I mean, some of those Buhurt people, if they are talking about Buhurt, Battle of the Nation, no, I think they're pretty tough, to be honest. That stuff hurts, you know?
Preemptive balding
Some of
people.
them know how to fight, though. I've seen
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
where guys take guys down, leg kick them.
They're MMA guys that are getting
Yeah.
into it. It's just another like outlet.
Oh yeah.
Another outlet.
Part of the floor of the Colosseum was buried until the mid 19th century.
Oh, you
There
were
we
right.
go.
There you go.
I knew. Yeah.
One
I don't want to correct you.
hypogean floor lay buried under 40 feet of earth. All memory of its function, even existent. What is that the
Is that the what?
floor that lifts up? Is that what that is?
No, okay, they got confused. Yeah, they are talking about the hypogeum with a long air, by the way, hypogeum. This is specifically the tunnels dug under. So, okay, let me see if they let's see if they show a picture or something. If not, I'll pull it up and I can explain to you what this is.
Yeah, the floor. There was stuff sticking out of it, and then they went and they uncovered that there was like an entire underground system. Like,
Exactly. So, just so we understand this, I'm sure you have seen this, right? What this is this that you see over here is the actual floor of the Colosseum. This would have been made of wood, and it would have covered the entirety of this, and then on top of the wood, they would put the sand. As an interesting fun fact, the word for sand in Latin, which is kind of the same, almost the same with Italian, it's a little technical, but the word for sand in Latin is arena, and the Colosseum is a arena, right? Anyways, so yeah, you would see the sand, you wouldn't know as a spectator that you have actually replaced the floor, because the floor is actually artificial and it's wooden. And the reason why they did this is so that they could build this entire set of chambers and tunnels and cells, the three things that you see here, where you would put the gladiators, you would put the animals, you would put lots of different things in here, prisoners, and then there would be lifts in here. There is a whole mechanical device under here that could make people pop out outside of from the floor, basically. And so, yeah, that would be the case. It would be this is what this is, basically. Now, this was not present in the original Colosseum. It was not here. Do remember that the Colosseum is built by Emperor Vespasianus, and the original name was the Flavian Amphitheater. The reason why it's called like that is because Vespasianus was a member of the Flavia family, or the gens Flavia. So then he starts the building of the Colosseum in around 70 or 72 AD, Anno Domini Nostri Jesu Christi. Then his son Titus continues and finishes the Colosseum, and then Titus' younger brother, who becomes the emperor, Domitianus, these are all from the Flavian dynasty, he will add the fourth floor, the fourth, what do you call it in English? Can't think of the word in English right now. I'll say floor for now. There is a word for it in English. I can't think of it. And we'll have all of this built underneath it. And it is possible, because we still don't exactly understand how they did the flooding of the Colosseum. There are some hydraulic mechanism in it connected to some of the aqueducts, but it's not 100% understood how it was done. The sources tell us that the Romans were able to very quickly flood the Colosseum and then bring in the boats. It is possible, however, by one of the current understanding of how this worked from a mechanical standpoint, that after Domitian actually did this, the Colosseum became a lot more entertaining, but they stopped doing the naumachia, aka the simulated naval battles, because it was difficult to flood the Colosseum when you basically didn't have any more an actual floor. But we don't know if that's the case. We don't know if that's the case. Story, thank you. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah. Thank you. We have 13. Story, the fourth story. Anyways, that's the story of the story. And so he's correct that this was unearthed later. The rest of the Colosseum, yeah, it's been there for a while. But yeah, so that's the situation. All right, let's continue.
all this shit. It was
all that
actually really
underground?
all
So
really
did
recent.
someone cover it up? Did you go back to that description, Jamie? Because I think it explained
Yes.
that someone covered it up.
Well, I mean,
They created a simulated wooden floor and put sand on it.
spread most of Rome, so I'm sure it was part of it.
I wonder why they did that.
They were using all this shit for
The tour that I did of the Colosseum was boring as shit.
Mussolini fixed it. The guy wasn't all bad.
What were you saying, Jamie? What'd you say?
They were using the pieces of the city for construction or
I
whatever.
wish all Mussolini did was architecture, because some of the fascist architecture is actually pretty good looking. We have a postal office in Palermo, which was built under fascism, and it looks great with the columns and whatnot, very square. So it's a little. I just wish the fascists stuck to architecture. To be honest, I'll be honest with you. But yeah.
Whatever else they're building, new stuff, you know.
No, he's a comedian. He's a comedian. Don't take him seriously. He didn't actually. What he just said, he's serious. No, these are two comedians. So let's keep that in mind. Okay, so these are stand-up comedy people.
The pyramids. You know,
People
they-
shit on Mussolini. I'm pulling that
that's
right now.
horrible.
They go, Mussolini, what a monster. I go, clean the floor of the Colosseum.
They did that with the pyramids. They stole the fucking stones from the outside of it.
Yeah.
well,
People are so gross.
Yeah, it was crazy. Well,
It's
remember
like
the
when-
Trevi Fountain a few years ago in Rome? They poured like black ink in it or something, just protesters. It was like and they
Jail immediately. It's just like those people that go with the little cans, spray cans, and spray over Stonehenge, or the people that go and spray can famous paintings by, I don't know, Raffaello, Leonardo, whatever, Donatello, whatever the heck. No, jail immediately. I don't even care. How is it going to help whatever important message you want to spread? When you do that, you create public outrage, which means you're not helping your cause. So it needs to be something that, and plus it's illegal. It's illegal to do stuff like that anyways. It's just one of those things, I suppose. Yeah. Anyways, let's continue. Let's go. This is so far, it's good. 2 minutes, 56 seconds, I got to say. Yeah.
literally had to drain the fountain, and it took like however many months to clean it. It was fucked
Right.
up.
The Colosseum architects made changes to allow new methods of stagecraft. Other changes were accidental. Fire sparked by lightning in 217 AD gutted the
What do you mean accident? That's Zeus, Jupiter.
stadium, sent huge blocks of travertine plunging into the hypogeum.
What?
That whole area is so nuts, man.
217?
That's a lot of words
How do
in
they
that.
have those facts?
Colosseum was really cool.
I'm sorry, what?
That whole area is so nuts.
1 second.
Accidental fire sparked by lightning in 217
Yeah.
AD gutted the stadium, sent huge blocks of travertine plunging into the hypogeum.
What?
That whole area is so nuts, man.
217?
That's a lot of words
How do
in
they
that.
have those facts?
Colosseum was
It is so difficult. You're right. I mean, I know he's joking all the time, but I mean, that's history. That's how you get the facts. He's joking. He's joking. I'm going to consider that the other guy, every time he speaks, it's a joke. I'll do that.
really cool. I learned more about it. I did a like a gladiator training program with my son. They had
Nice.
it was like a little like place you went, and I learned so much about the Colosseum doing that, more than the tour. The tour was boring as shit. I went in like August. It was 110 degrees out. It was insane.
He's aggressively trying to make his son straight.
But
I don't understand the joke because I don't know anything about his family life, whatever that means.
that was a cool experience. Like, dude,
It's fucking cool as shit, man.
they didn't
'cause
kill
it's-
each other. The gladiators, like that's all like
Right.
lore.
Lies?
That's
They
all lies.
didn't?
It was none of because it was like pro wrestlers. If
Yeah.
your gladiator killed another gladiator, the guy who owned that gladiator would have to pay.
Okay, so this guy, he knows his stuff. He knows history better than Simon Elliott, Professor Emeritus, Doctor, PhD, Super, Erasmus. This guy's. I'll take him over over Simon Elliott. I'll be honest with you. Like, he's right. He's absolutely right. This idea that gladiators died at every fight is wrong. We've spoken about this a lot, right? And now he's proceeding to debunk that at Joe Rogan Experience. So this probably got millions of views. This is just a clip, but I imagine this got millions of views. I appreciate that. This guy's doing a better service to the history of my country than Simon Elliott did, and a bunch of other professors these days. So I'll take it. Let's see how he explains the number. I can give you some numbers, by the way, but let's see how he explains it.
The other guy who owned that gladiator, they were all slaves. So it was all just show. It was like pro wrestling. They would cut each other, but they had like big, like fat bellies, so they wouldn't cut each other.
I take that back. I take that back. He's spreading a myth now. Oh no, he's going to. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, that's why I'm here, right? That's why I'm here. So he's right when it comes to the over-exaggeration of the mortality rate of gladiatorial combat for economic reasons, as he explained. Not to mention the people loved to get to kind of, and you know how you get like superstars in MMA and in karate, and then you recognize them. Well, it's the same thing for the Romans. They had their favorites, the champions. So yeah, occasionally gladiators did die. It wasn't staged. I don't want you to think that it was staged. It wasn't. They fought. It's just that they usually wouldn't go until death. It was very rare. that it would happen, but it was rare. On the other hand, though, now he's pushing this idea, and it's not his fault. He was probably told by the people at this gladiatorial school, I am aware of these. They are a little touristy attractions in Naples, and I don't know if they have a couple in near Rome. And I imagine some of the stuff they say is not really backed by evidence. Oftentimes it's one of those situations where you hear something, you repeat it, and it becomes a thing that you can read online, which is in this case the idea that gladiators were fat, and they used the fat to prevent the sword cuts to reach your vital organs. It's nonsense. Complete nonsense. So I'm gonna let him finish the point, and then once he finished the point, we'll look at I can tell you a little bit about the diet, for example. We have mentioned through Pliny the Elder, for example. He tells us about their diet, and so we can discuss that. But I'll show you how to basically debunk this, and it's very easy to debunk this idea of gladiators were fat. But let's finish the point. Let's go.
That gladiator would have to pay the other guy who owned that gladiator. They were all slaves. It was all just show. It was like pro wrestling.
Also, they weren't all slaves. Some were professional by choice.
They would cut each other, but they had like big, like fat bellies, so they wouldn't cut each other's organs. They knew how to like do it in a certain way. It was all show.
Really?
It did happen once in a while, but that was more rare when you see an actual death.
So occasionally they would fight for real to the death.
I don't even, yeah, I'm sure occasionally they did.
Where did you get all this information?
From my gladiator training program.
Really?
And that's the problem, guys. From my gladiator training program, information like this needs to be taken by the sources, through the sources. Not even professor these days. Not even me. And no, I'm not putting myself above the professors, but I'm saying because you are watching my channel, I know that you guys trust me. I'm not trying to say I'm big shot, but I'm saying I do want to tell you, yes, we double check the sources. We read it in Latin with the team. Whenever I tell you something, oh, Pliny said this, Marshall said that, we looked at the source, we dug into it, we translated it from the original language, we double checked what other people say about it, and then I present the information. But this is how myths spread. So this guy truly, genuinely, I like him so far, by the way, this guy, it's not his fault, he genuinely believed what someone else said. The problem is this someone else said what another person said, and it's a game of telephone. That's what it is, unfortunately. So I'll also tell you where the myth comes from. In fact, I'm just going to tell you right now. So the myths comes from a misinterpretation of a passage where there is this Roman writer that is making fun of an emperor, telling him, look at you with your body that looks like a gladiator, your gladiator body. We have no idea what that means, and some people have speculated that it means that he was fat, but there is no reason to think that. Also because you remember the gladiator classes had different body types. So a murmillo could have been a thick guy, meaning that it could have been a very muscular, kind of like a bodybuilder, but just to give you an idea, think of a natural bodybuilder as opposed to, you know, the guys that do oil and that kind of stuff or steroids. So imagine a natural bodybuilder, big guy, strong arms, strong guy, muscular. That's what Murmillo, Secutor classes, they are the heavy classes. But then again, also think of those guys that do jobs. So they've got strong arms, maybe, but they have a little bit of a gut and they don't care as long as they have strong arms. There are guys that think that way. You could become a Murmillo if you had a little bit of body fat percentage. You didn't have to be like lean or like something like a power lifter as well. But this idea that being fat is ridiculous. So it is possible that when this emperor was being mocked is because maybe he was putting on muscle mass. So they were like, oh, look at you. What are you doing with that body? But, you know, that's the idea. The second reason why this idea was pushed, the gladiators were fat, is because of a 1993 discovery in West Turkey, where the body of 22 gladiators were found, and they did a isotope analysis of the bones and figured out that they had a diet that was carbohydrate intense. So they had a lot of carbs. When I say carbs, it is very likely that means specifically barley, because Pliny the Elder tells us, and in fact uses a nickname for gladiators, and he calls them barley eaters. So when you do a cross-reference between the material goods, so the bones, and the analysis, and then the fact that they were nicknamed barley eaters, we understand, okay, so they ate a lot of carbohydrates. I mean, it makes sense. No, not pizza, sorry. But it makes sense because if you are someone who trains, and again, I'm not a fitness channel, but, a lot of fitness professionals and the channels tell you shouldn't completely remove. I mean, high protein is important, and I'll tell you they did get a protein source in their diet. But you don't want to eliminate completely carbs because carbs give you the energy. Right? When you eat carbs, they're good carbs, when you go and train, you have that extra energy to push. And gladiators trained all the time. Another reason why they wouldn't be fit, they wouldn't be fat, they would be fit because they trained all the time. That's what happens when you train all the time. And not to mention that, as far as I understand, when you are trying to, even when you have a high protein diet, if you also have carbohydrates, that creates an insulin peak that helps you with the absorption of protein. But then again, this is not my specialty. In this case, I am repeating what some professionals said, but do double check this information. Regardless of whether it works or not, we know the gladiators had a high carbohydrate diet, but they implemented, when they were making the pulse, which is kind of like porridge with the barley, they added cheese and legumes. And then it's possible that sometimes they would add lard, but that's just a speculation. Anyways, so they got protein from vegetables, from cheese. They ate that. But once again, this is all. This idea they were fat is just based on this, that they ate carbs and that the one emperor was mocked for having the body of a gladiator. Also, what does that mean? I mean, Aretiarius would be a thin guy. So, I mean, maybe he was thin. I mean, they didn't specify which gladiator class anyways. And that's where the myth comes from, believe it or not. Thank you very much, Tyler Brownie, for supporting the stream. Of course, they had a carb-rich diet. They were freaking athletes. Exactly. That's precisely the point. And also, we know that the Romans cared about diet of athletes because you know what we have in the sources? We are told about a specific form of supplementation. They made supplements for the gladiators in the sense that they recognized that the fact that they weren't having enough, and take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but they did a calcium deficiency supplement. Now, does that mean that the Romans understood the calcium is a mineral and this mineral? No, but the Romans did understand that if you lack certain foods, that could cause some deficiencies that it could lead to some diseases and whatnot. And so they did create these supplements for gladiators specifically in order to enrich their diets. And the way they did it is that they took ash from bones and added it, sprinkled it onto another concoction that at the moment I forget the rest of the ingredients, but just to add that little extra calcium into their diet. So yeah, they weren't fat. It's nonsense. Plus, I mean, think about this idea. Oh, they had big bellies, fat, so that when they cut with live blades, they don't reach the organs. If that were the case, why would the Romans even bother with armor then? Not to mention, we know that there were some degree of armor in the shield. It's just a myth that is being repeated. Anyways, I'm speaking too much. Let's go.
Really?
Yeah.
The guy's certified. I mean, what are you gonna do? Argue the guy's
But like the different weapons and the costumes they would wear and like the type of armor they would wear is like there was like, whatever, like, a couple dozen different types of guys and be like, oh, that's the guy with the fucking mace and like a certain helmet. And it was like, it was free as well. All the people in Rome, there wasn't a ticket price. The government would sponsor it. So it was just to get people like,
he's right.
Keep them happy and
keep them happy.
Fucking the richer you were, the closer you were, like all the peasants would be up in the rafters.
Right.
But
so the movie Gladiator's bullshit? Is that what you're trying to
a lot
tell
of
me?
it's bullshit. There was no thumbs down, thumbs up.
He's correct.
What?
He's still doing a good job. I'll give you that. He's still doing a good job. Apart from the gut, that he rolled a 1. But the rest, it's true. Yeah, this is not a thing. So, let's go.
Common misconception that gladiators always fought to the death.
Yeah.
The winner survived and the loser died. Very rarely, and usually with special dispensation from the emperor, would there be sign miso battles, which automatically meant death for the loser.
I would like to underline, this doesn't count as research. Googling something, this could be nonsense. So you still want to check the sources, or at least a reputable source. Particularly with AI, you got to be careful.
Loser with no chance of being spared. So occasionally they died.
Yeah.
Very rarely they died.
But they were like celebrities. Like the gladiators would come out and they were like,
wow.
Do
Some
you think
historians
this
say,
means-
oh, wait a minute, 1 in 5 died in battle. That's a lot. Others say 1 in 10.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You see, he's just reading anything he finds, and then the number of people that actually died is a highly debated topic, and it's highly speculative. I've read several studies on it, including one published by the University of Cambridge, and it's highly speculative. The way they calculate that, and I want to give you an example on that. One of my favorite historical gladiators, his name is Flamma. The reason why I like him is, one, because he was a champion and was badass, but also because he's from Sicily, so you'll understand that. Plus Flamma, like flame, is such a cool name. The guy fought 34 matches in the arena and won 21. So this does tell us, this written on his tomb, by the way. It's often you find that in gladiator tombs. So the idea is, yeah, he was great. He won 21 times, but if you just do the maths, he lost 13 times and he didn't die. So that kind of gives you an idea. And also you have to consider that the average age for gladiators is between the age of 20 and 30. So after which, if you survived and maybe you became a champion, or maybe you became good enough that you could pay for your own freedom, or maybe you'll retire because, I don't know, you're not really that good anymore. And there are lots of different possible. Some will become bodyguards. Like maybe you're a gladiator, you're pretty good from age 20 to age 30. Imagine you're like a secutor, right? And secutor class, and you're pretty nice, pretty good. Maybe one of the nobles will look at you, is like, how old is that guy? Oh, he's been doing it for 9 years. Okay, I'll take him. I'll take him. So this happened as well. And that's one way in which gladiators would gain freedom, because then at that point, you're a bodyguard. It's a different type of job. So, yeah. Were there ever female gladiators? Yes. And they are mentioned in the sources. And we even have one piece of iconography that shows us they are called gladiatrix. And the best thing about them is that they fought with their bare chest, because men like what they like. Ancient Rome or modern period. But yeah.
Most only lived to their mid-20s, which compared to today's
well, they
average.
False.
would die of their injuries very often. Not it wasn't like it was fight to the death. They just
would
didn't
just
have
get
medicine.
stabbed.
Like, yeah, they would
They
get
get-
stabbed.
They didn't have medicine. Well, I guess the tour guide at the Gladiator School didn't mention the extremely famous School of Medicines in both Rome and Greece. I guess maybe I can make a dedicated episode at one point, but just to give you a name, Gallen. Gallen is a Roman medic, and he specifically worked at a ludus, meaning a gladiatorial school. And there are several mentioned in the, for example, Ludus Maxima, Ludus Magna, which is you still see the remains right next to the Colosseum. So yeah, the Romans had medicine, absolutely. Given some of the theories within this medicine was very mythologically connected, but then again, there was also a lot of pragmatism. So it wasn't all like, oh, they're doing some nonsense. No. They did know how to treat infected wounds and stuff like that. But yeah, it wasn't as advanced as modern medicine. I think that's obvious. I don't even know why I have to specify, but and there are some differences in approach between the ancient Greek medicine and ancient Roman medicine. But to say that the Romans didn't have any medicine is what it is. But yeah, every Roman gladiatorial school had at least a medic. Absolutely. Right.
Get infected.
infection.
But Gladiator 2 was right, though, right?
But that, I mean, when he's talking about the water, they would fill it up with water.
Joe Rogan, do you want me to answer the question with the Gladiator 2? I can do a 2 hours episode, Joe Rogan. You just call me. You called me. Let's just talk about Gladiator 2. I'm not going to talk about anything else. Maybe Muppets once or twice. But apart from that, you want to do an interview about Gladiator 2? Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready, man.
And have boat fights. That was a real thing in Gladiator 2.
Oh, I see. No,
What was
bummed
a real
out.
thing?
I thought they really
I'm
fought.
sorry. What was a real thing in Gladiator 2?
Right, though, right?
But that, I mean, when he's talking about the water, they would fill it up with
yeah.
water and have boat fights. That was a real thing in Gladiator.
Absolutely, yeah. That was one thing they did right. One thing they did not do possibly. I mean, I need to be nice about this. So in Gladiator 2, if you remember, when you see the scene about the Naumachia, so the flooded battle in the Colosseum, it's nice that they show it, but then they also show that they have sharks swimming in the water. This is something that I've mentioned not only on a few videos, but occasionally comes back during live streams because people ask me, but did the Romans have sharks? And it's because they saw that scene. So I can't say, having examined the sources about this with the team, I cannot categorically state it's impossible that the Romans had sharks, as some YouTubers have. And there are videos out there and people say, what, were Romans with sharks? Okay, so let's have a look at the evidence for a moment. When it comes to the sharks, they are mentioned by a writer, I'll give you who the writer is Lucius Moderatus Columella. He's a Roman writer, and he's important because he wrote a 12-volume book, which is called De Re Rustica, which is all about agriculture. So if you want to learn about agriculture, Columella is your guy, and a little bit of Roman cuisine. Anyways, as he speaks about farming, he also has a specific mention about fish farming. And fish farming, which was done in the coastline right outside of Rome, so you got to go a little bit to the east, and then they have these coastlines. He absolutely mentions sharks among the type of species that the Romans were farming in these sort of artificial basins that they were building. So, did the Romans know that sharks existed? Yes. Did the Romans have access to sharks in a context that it's near the Colosseum? Technically, yes. Does that mean that when Gladiator 2 shows sharks in the waters, that's possible, maybe plausible? I'd say no, because there is a problem that often is mentioned in the comments, that transportation and sharks is often a problem because sharks, due to their anatomy, their respiratory system requires sharks to continuously move in order to get oxygen through the water in the I don't remember the word in English, but anyways, you know what I'm talking about. With that being said, though, it's kind of species specific, because there are some species of sharks that use a different method of breathing, which is called buccal pumping, which basically allows them to breathe even if they're not moving. So, once again, it definitely reduces the chances, because now it needs to be a specific subcategory of sharks, but we can't say that it was technically impossible. Very difficult. So, did they put sharks in the waters? I would say probably not, but it's not impossible. We do know, however, because Pliny does mention that the Romans put beasts swimming in the waters of the Colosseum under Emperor Nero. So Nero used seawater, specifically, with beasts swimming in it. What beasts are they? Marshall mentions crocodiles and hippos. So there is no mention of sharks. I think that's the most probable. But at this point, I'm going to say who knows. At the end of the day, I think what made the spectacle is, criminal, gladiator fighting, fell in the water, shark or crocodile or hippo ate it, woohoo, McDonald's. That's basically how it happened. But just to give you some context on that. Thank you, Evil Black. If you listen closely, you can hear the sound of hundreds of Gladiatrix Google searches happening right now. You're absolutely right. Well, then you should check the Minoan women fashion, because that's another one you're going to love. Yeah. So there is that. Benjamin says, Metatron, please, if you go to Joe Rogan, don't make it all about skin color. I'm not the one making it about skin color. It's the people that race swap. I just respond to bring back the truth. So yeah, if he asks, I'll talk about it. I'm not afraid. If he asks me, was Cleopatra black? I'm like, no, grandma was wrong. I don't care if people get offended. I don't. I mean, I just shared a very, very understanding, nice take the other day, and someone called me a bigot about it regardless. So at this point, I don't even care. At this point, sorry, I don't even care. I'll just say the truth. If people get offended, it's their problem. Because I tried to play it nice, and it just doesn't work. They still call me a bigot. So at this point, I'm going to go full in. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. No, I'm not going to Joe Rogan. I was just saying because they were asking if Gladiator 2 was accurate, and it's a topic I've really looked into. And so I said, hey, I can come on the show. I'll tell you all about Gladiator. So yeah, it's one of those things. Anyways, let's see.
Oh, I see. Now I'm bummed out. I thought they really fought to the death.
Like every time?
Yeah.
No.
God damn, dude.
That
Well,
would be economically impossible to sustain.
I've got bad news about the WWF also. Oh my God! Then you know what? I might as well pull the Band-Aid off if we're already here. Wrestling also.
But it was like akin to pro wrestling. Like they would have like personalities and people would like,
Right.
you know.
That was a problem in Japan in the early days of MMA. Some of the fights were fixed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You could tell. You know,
I did not know that. See, I'm learning something from Joe today. We have a question from Goatee. Metatron, did the Romans use apes and monkeys in Colosseum fights? Hello, Melanie. Welcome back. The answer is yes. So we have mentioned specifically when it comes to monkeys, and it's from Pliny. We know that during the games of Pompey the Great, Pompey, Gnaeus Pompey in 55 BC, Pliny not only mentions monkeys in the Colosseum, but specifically tells us they are cynocephalous monkeys. And cynocephalous translates as dog-headed, so it's very likely that it was baboons. And he says that these were particularly ferocious, which could mean that they had rabies. That's one possibility. I mean, when this type of monkeys, I looked into it, and when this type of monkeys are kept in captivity, they have a stress reaction, and they can become aggressive. Sometimes there are even cases of alopecia as a consequence of that, or maybe they just had rabies. That's a possibility. Yeah. So yeah, monkeys were a thing. Baboons would be, deadly, absolutely. I wouldn't want to fight a baboon, honestly. Yeah.
you could tell like certain guys would win by leg lock.
Well, they'd
That's
have,
where
like,
you can stomp and shit
They'd have
too,
professional
right? They could do
wrestler,
everything, yeah.
like promoters, do those MMA fights.
What does it say,
This is
Jamie?
describing the animal hunts they did, but I'll skip ahead to this part here.
Hypogeum played a vital role in these staged hunts, allowing animals and hunters to enter the arena countless ways. Eyewitnesses describe how animals appeared suddenly from below as if by magic, sometimes apparently launched high into the air. The hypogeum allowed the organizers of the game to create surprises and build suspense. A hunter in the arena wouldn't know where the next lion would appear or whether 2 or 3 lions might emerge instead of 1.
Yeah, out of those, like...
Since I talked about a second ago, I think I mentioned the seawater used by Nero. I have to correct myself. I think I said that was mentioned by Marshall. No, Marshall mentions the rhino. It's Suetonius that mentions the seawater and the beast swimming in it. Apologies for the mistake.
trap
Holy
doors
shit.
in the bottom. A lion would just jump out, and you're watching a dude like hunt lions. How
Yeah.
cool is that, though?
This
Yeah.
uncertainty could be exploited for comic effect.
Oh, like
He goes,
the
guys, I'm not
chicken.
afraid of no bullshit ass lion. I fuck a lion. He's right behind me, isn't he?
Emperor Galenius
Yeah, I wouldn't want to fight that. Anyways, apart from that, there were so far only 2 myths, but the rest was actually pretty good. And again, these are comedian. They're not. I'm not even like complaining about it. I'm just saying it's good that we are reviewing it. It's good that we are reviewing it just to make sure that the correct information goes to the public. Although then again, it's not like people are going to lose their jobs because now they think that gladiators had a belly. But for those who are interested, like you and I, history buffs, I think it's nice to correct. With that being said, they are actually doing a better job than a lot of the professors. And that's when I have a problem, when the professors with authority are actually pushing nonsense.
punished a merchant who had swindled the empress, selling her glass jewels instead of authentic ones,
Right.
by setting him in the arena to face a ferocious lion. When the cage opened, however, a chicken walked out to the delight of the crowd. Galenius then told the herald to proclaim he practiced deceit and then had it practiced on him. The emperor let the jeweler go home.
Cool.
Whoa. So they let people, so it wasn't that
Killed
mean.
him days later.
They were less mean than we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was still pretty brutal.
Well, it was fucking brutal.
Were they brutal, though? We have to kind of compare it to us. We are bombing people all over the place. How are we really in a position to say, oh, the Romans were so bloodthirsty and brutal? We watch MMA, we watch boxing, we find violence entertaining. We are the same. We are the same. And it's not like our leaders are better. When I say, like, look at it globally. Look at it globally. In fact, if anything, for the period, the Romans were actually more accommodating. They're like, you pay taxes and you believe whatever you want. Now compare that with, for instance, I don't know, an Islamic sultanate in the Middle Ages. And what they would do to the infidels. So, like, no, the Romans were not brutal. I mean, they were, yes. But one, it's not the whole population. Let's look at the leaders. Let's look at because that's what we need to look at, the people who with power. The people wielding power. What are they doing? And by the way, just to be fair, the church, the Christian church burning people at the stake, although then again, that's exaggerated and it's post-medieval, but it did still happen. So yeah, no, I would say that's more brutal than anything the Romans have done. So I think the Romans were humans. And if anything, when placed into their context, they were in fact more accommodating than many other populations. And that's how it is. Yeah, 1600 was pretty brutal, absolutely. Absolutely.
Brutal time to be alive back then, man.
Dude, 1 in 5 got to live. Relax.
1 in 10, maybe 1 in 10.
Maybe even 1 in 10. No big whoop.
I bet a lot of dudes were sliced up, though. You ever see those Nazi dueling scars where the Nazis in like
hey,
when
careful with that word. Don't get me demonetized. Come on, man. You got millions. I haven't.
they were in like military school, they would have duels with sword fights, and their faces would get slashed up, and that was like their badge of courage. So all the Nazis that came over for NASA.
Man, stop using that word, for crying out loud. I already feel the red dollar sign.
They all have these like crazy Nazi dueling scars
all over their faces.
Yeah.
Seriously, okay, Joe Rogan. I know. Again, Joe. Can I call you Joe? It's in my book. Austrian Painter Fan Club. Austrian Painter Fan Club. Right? The Austrian Painter Fan Club of the Naughty Germans. That's what you say. And you have to say the whole thing every single time. Everything.
You ever
Watch
seen
him
those?
say it again.
Bro, it's so creepy.
They do the shit we do now in arenas too with like t-shirt guns. Snacks fell from the sky.
Snacks as abundantly as hail, one observer noted, along with wooden balls containing tokens for prizes, food, money, or even the title to an apartment, which sometimes set off violent scuffles among spectators struggling to grab.
Nothing changed.
Oh my gosh. Austrian Art Association, little mustache guy. Man, the nonsense that they put us through.
Just today.
Nothing.
There used to be a blimp that would go around the Sixers stadium and drop coupons for Hers potato chips, and I've seen people fall off of balconies for them.
It was as hot as a boiler room in the summer, humid and cold in the winter, and filled all year round with strong smells from the smoke, sweating workmen packed in the narrow corridors, and the reek of the wild animals.
No bathrooms. And
Did people just shit in the holes?
That's what they always did. You know, where would you go if you're hot and you're drunk?
And everybody's got the plague.
And everybody had the plague. All right. Well, no, it's. I thought it was going to be worse, actually. So I have to say, we had to correct a couple of things. We might have got a yellow dollar sign, but we didn't get copy claimed. I'm going to remove it immediately. And we're going to go into iconography a little bit very quickly before we move to the next item of today's stream. That I hope that you're enjoying, by the way. You're going to return on screen soon. Let me double check that there aren't super chats that I'm disrespecting, because I don't want to be disrespectful. There we go. So let me have a look at the super chats very quickly, and then we'll look at iconography to see what these Gladiator Muppets actually looked like. Tyler, what can you tell me about the practice of Baal leaping? No idea, but thank you for the support. Evil Black, I think I listened to this. Yeah. 2113 is not a bad record that would be considered pretty good in mixed martial arts even today. I agree. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Flamma was great. Tyler Brown, of course, they had carb-rich diet. Yeah, we read that. Ray Gonzalez, what? You're telling me that I don't have the body of a gladiator? Oh no, just crush all my hopes and dreams. But oh yeah, sorry to hear that. It's fine. You can still have it. You just need to change one letter. How hard can it be? Just change the A for an I. How hard can it be? Yeah, and I think that's it. Okay, good. Thank you again for the support, guys. Always appreciate. Always appreciate. So let's have a look at this iconography, shall we? So what does a gladiator look like? Well, apart from the descriptions that are written and we are told about it, and apart from actually applying logics and thinking these guys were training all the time. How about we see how they are ubiquitously represented in iconography by the people that actually saw them with their own eyes? How about that? And if we do that, we will see a lot of different things. For instance, let's look at this guy. So we've got, can you even see him? So sorry, there we go. So this, yeah, this looks like, look at that. We can see all of the abs. This guy is a low fat percentage. This guy is a low fat percentage. This guy too, he's got like a kind of a little bit of a smaller waist where he has got the cingulum. Yeah, so these two guys, not fat. Anything else? Boom. Look at these guys. Big shoulders, big deltoids, pecs. Not fat. In fact, as I was telling you, these look like power lifters. These look like natural bodybuilders. Absolutely. Secutor. My man. This is a painting. Doesn't count. Boom. Does this look fat to you? Does this look like a big guy with a huge gut so that the blade cannot go through the fat? Anything else? Let me see. Boom. All right. Man, I haven't found one. This is how ridiculous. This guy got the net from the Retiarius over him. So not having a good day. Sorry to hear. Still. Yeah. Yeah, we already saw this. Boom. Okay, so we saw a few. Let's find more period. Let's find more period imagery. Just to have an idea. Even this guy you can see. This is the one we saw a minute ago. This guy, does he look fat? I haven't found one. Look at these guys. This is like fitness model. They could literally model for a modern fitness magazine. I don't know if I'm covering it with my camera. No, I'm not. Look at this guy. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous like how these myths spread because people don't spend... How long did we need? 3 seconds? 5 seconds with the sources? With the iconography? Like literally, there isn't one. There isn't one. There is fat. Not even one. Bunch of nonsense. More iconography. Let me see if I can find more. But as I say, this is something we looked into the iconography a lot when I was making videos dedicated to gladiators. Look at this guy. Man, this guy's got the chest of Arnold Schwarzenegger almost. Look at these pecs. Look at the pecs. Yeah. This guy, big guy. Big guy. This guy. More guys. Yeah, these guys. Yeah. I think I made my point. More like look at the muscles. Like these were fighters. These were fighters. Come on. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this one is having a horrible day though. It's being stabbed in the back. That's not nice. Like literally. Come on, man. More gladiators. Look at this. I did make once a video a long time ago on their fighting stances, by the way, trying to recreate it. And I found some similarities with some general concepts of traditional karate, by the way. I might see if I can do a remake of that video, but maybe make it better because, of course, it's an old video, so I never get to the point. But yeah, I believe we looked at enough iconography and we have established what we needed to establish. So yeah, fat gladiators is nonsense. Please do it. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll jot it down as an option and I'll start working on it a little bit. I mean, it's gonna get a 10 out of 10 because whenever I make videos that are like vanilla content, old school, original video with research, they are the worst performing for the platform. I still do it. I do it for you guys. I do it for the core. But that's why I also have to pepper the channel with a few reactions and things like that because just I'm being, for some reason, and it's so frustrating that I'm being literally penalized by the system like every time I make a video like that, which is really annoying. But thanks to you and your support, we are still here. David Lopez, now we need the Kermit Gladiator outfit fund. I'll consider it. I'll absolutely consider it. Thank you, Castor, for becoming a member of the channel. Today we got 6 already. Thank you so much. I mean, bull leaping as in male bovine. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I'll have to check your actual video. Comment. But thank you. Yeah, you're excited for the Olive Garden review. Yeah, we are deciding with the wife when we're gonna go. We still haven't decided. Thanks, Metatron, for all you do, bro. I appreciate that, Four Fists. Absolutely. This is why you shouldn't get history from Rogan. Oh, yeah, for sure. Unless he has a guest who is like really good at history, then... I mean, because Rogan often asks good questions. Like, I'll give him that. He asks good questions, but then if he gives the answer, often it's either something he heard someone say, or he just Googles it during the stream. Like, it's not him, it's his assistant. They Google something, but a Google search doesn't give you the facts. It doesn't work like that. It just gives you something that a lot of people say. That's why it's top at in the search engine. And even AI does that, which is why AI gets things wrong, because the order of priority is not an order of, yes, but where is the selective bias? Where are the sources about this? Because that takes time and all that. So yeah, but then again, how many people actually watch Joe Rogan to learn the facts? That's why I know people have told me you should be more angry against the misinformation, and I'm like, yeah, but Joe Rogan is not a professor. He doesn't say I have 16 PhDs and the reason why everything is bad, the reason why Rome was attacking people is white supremacy. Like, he doesn't do that. So yeah, I will be more critical for Joe Rogan. I'll correct him. But when it comes to like the big professors, that's when I'm gonna attack full on, because they are the ones that people will believe, because they have the paper. They have, like, on paper, they are the experts. So not to mention the students are going to loans of tens of thousands of dollars to be told nonsense. That's why I focus on those rather than like, yeah, Joe Rogan, I'll watch it with you and I'll correct it. But then again, yeah. Hey, Tyler. What can you tell me about bull leaping? I don't know anything about bull leaping, Tyler. I'm sorry. I know you super chatted twice about it. I don't know. What are you talking about specifically? Is it like you're talking about like Madrid? I don't really know the history of that. Oh yeah, he does have some very interesting guests, Ginger. I agree. There was a mathematician that he invited once, and he was talking about like this statistical analysis that they built this system that was like trying to recreate how certain traits occur in a population. It was, oh my gosh, I loved it. It was great. It was all about, then he ended up going into reality, the fabric of reality, and how we evolved not to see reality for what it is. It was phenomenal. I loved it. Yeah. Exactly, Zombie, Maluko, I agree. Yeah, this idea of the gladiators being fat is just nonsense. And again, even this idea that it wasn't staged. It just wasn't lethal. But like, boxing is not lethal. Occasionally you have people that get brain damage from it. But in general, boxing is not lethal. And but it's still violent, it's still real, there is real competition into it, and I think that's a better equivalent, with the addition of these special personalities that you do get in like wrestling. But then again, even boxers, when there is, when Mike Tyson, yeah, he's got his fan club, or Muhammad Ali back in the day, he had people that were like, oh, Muhammad Ali tonight, let's get the popcorn. So like that kind of situation, totally like professional combat, and because weapons were included, the risk was higher. And I think that that's a good, and there would be injuries that today we wouldn't be okay with when it comes to a sport environment. But apart from that, I think that already kind of gives it, it's true that it wasn't lethal, that they all died all the time, that's nonsense, but it's also not true that it was completely staged. I personally don't see it like that. Yeah. Rugby is pretty brutal, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Cool. 1 second, I need to block a bot. Hide user from the channel. Gone. Okay. Remove the bot. Also, if you notice that today I'm a little slow, because I didn't sleep very well yesterday night. So I apologize if you notice, like, why is he not saying anything for like 6 seconds? Because I'm a little bit like this today. So I apologize for that. Anyways, I found a video, guys, that I really want to check out with you, because I love the series. And are you ready to laugh? It's gonna be great, guys. It's gonna be great. Have you ever heard of the Dutch language? Well, he has, and it's from a month ago, but somehow it slipped under my radar. Yeah, so let's see, guys. I'm not gonna watch the whole video, but usually I skip the grammar sections, but this is, you saw it, it's funny. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. Up to this point, though, his French review was the best when he said it was homosexual Italian. Did he call it like that? Or Italian is heterosexual French. Yeah, that's what it was. Italian is heterosexual French. That one killed me. That one was that was so funny. Italian is heterosexual French is incredible. so for baguette language. So that one already, to me, that one is number one. But let's see. Let's go.
Eeuw dreries en welkom op mijn kanaal. Mijn naam is Talbeminar en ik kom uit Amerika. Vandaag gaan we over het Nederlands praten, otherwise formerly known as Belgian, Windmillenese, Tall People Canal language, Drunk English, or Femboy German. This is the 13th episode of Language Review, a series where I go through the languages of the world and review them, sort of like a film critic or a video game reviewer, but for languages, specifically from the perspective of a language learner. I'll discuss who speaks them, their grammar, their difficulty, and tons of other stuff before finally giving them an official Language Simp certified.
Okay, guys, what do you think? If you know, don't tell me, though. Where is he going to put Dutch? I think he's going to put it in beta because of the sore throat. I mean, even Dutch people, and by the way, not all Dutch regions have that sound. But for those Dutch regions that do, and have this very like Van Gogh type of sound, Guten Morgen, like very strong. I don't know if I did it wrong, but whatever. Then yeah, it kind of gets a bad rep. But the Dutch are good sports about it, and they're like, yeah, my language is a sore throat. So I think because of that, he's gonna put it in beta. That's what I think. But let's see.
Rating on the simp scale. If you enjoy this video, let me know which language you would like me to review next in the comments. And without further ado. Hatsikide Yalla. Dutch? I love the Netherlands. They have walkable cities with no cars, so many windmills, and bicycles everywhere.
And carrots.
Shut up, you're American. Be patriotic. We have walkable cities, clean energy, and bike lanes right here. Okay, you're
bike lanes with the cars on top.
Right, but the Netherlands is going to be underwater soon, so I don't see why we'd waste our time talking about it. But I guess I have no choice. Dutch is mainly spoken by about 17 million NPCs in a tiny country that people for some reason are dying to move to, known as Holland or the Netherlands. Right. Same thing. The names are 100% interchangeable. Don't look it up. Don't believe them when they correct you. Just call it Holland, or better yet, just call it Amsterdam. They'll love you for that. And yes, this country is rapidly sinking into the Atlantic Ocean like the Titanic, and a third of the country is already below sea level, so if you want to go soon. I predict they've got like 2 weeks left above water. There they have tulips, canals, extremely questionable traditions, and great coffee, all in one tiny European utopia.
Man, that's a lot of orange right there. Look at that. Sorry, I was trying to... Oops.
Questionable traditions and great coffee, all in...
Yeah, look at that. Did you know that originally wild carrots were purple, not orange? We turned them orange by removing basically selective breeding, because the I don't know what it is, but the component, the ingredient that it has that made them purple also made them a little bitter. So we did that.
One tiny European utopia.
Right.
And if you're lucky, maybe you'll run into the great Wouter Kortevener on the street and he'll shock you with some flawless Gujarati. But Dutch isn't only spoken in Amsterdam. You see, back in the day when the Dutch were comfortably above sea level, they went out on boats and brutally colonized many different parts of the world, while also generously gifting their language to their victims. So in 2025, Dutch is spoken in the South American country of Suriname, which just feels wrong. When you're
I had no idea, actually. I had no idea there is a South American... what country did he say? Who?
You're in these Mexican countries, you're supposed to speak Spanish. And there are also a bunch of Dutch islands in the Caribbean, which feels even wronger. When you think of the Netherlands, you don't think of tropical island vacations. you think of cold
Right.
European winters, World War II, and Anne Frank, whose diary, originally written in Dutch, really moves me. Next in Southeast Asia, Femboy German is spoken a teeny weeny bit in Indonesia, although these Chads mostly got rid of it. Indonesia actually banned Dutch in 1957,
Really?
which is the most based thing I've ever heard in my 20
They banned Dutch following the Japanese occupation of the Dutch East Isles. The use of Dutch was banned, so it was the Japanese that did it, not the Indonesians, though.
26 years of life. You see, we here in America apologize for what happened to the Native Americans, but in the Netherlands, they kind of make fun of their colonization. If you mention the Netherlands online, you'll be spammed with the word gekoloniseerd, which means colonized. Seriously, every article, post, and video online that even hints at the hypothetical existence of the Netherlands
Very imperial of them, says Golden Age. Oops, sorry. I muted him.
at the hypothetical existence of the Netherlands will be littered with gekoloniseerd comments. But thankfully it hasn't happened to me yet, and I hope it never does. And now the best for last. Dutch is, thank God, spoken by about 5.5 million NPCs in the good part of Belgium, known as Flanders, which is basically the entire top half of the country. There they have amazing food like this, which they literally call mouse shit. Their chocolate is only slightly worse than Mr. Beast's. They're decent at making American French fries, and unlike the other major European powers, Belgium didn't colonize anyone. So in total, there are about 30 million... wait a second. What? They were literally the worst? So in total, there are about 30 million Dutchophones in the world, which means learning Femboy German will unlock you practically zero DLC.
No DLC, guys. Sorry. No Flemish supremacy.
But before I continue, I have a very special announcement for those of you who want to
Right.
learn languages and become a polyglot. For a limited time only, you can now get a discount on my comprehensive language learning ebook guide, the Hyper Polyglot Handbook. Just go to languagesimp.com and use code Dutch at checkout to get $5 off.
Code Dutch is smooth. I liked the plug-in here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Belgian chocolate is number one, by the way. Number one. I don't even care.
Are you tired of being a monolingual soy boy beta? Do you want to become a hyperpolyglot gigachad? If so, you need to read the Hyperpolyglot Handbook. This comprehensive ebook will teach you exactly how I learn a language from start to finish in the most fun, effective, yet realistic way imaginable. Learning lingos is simple and fun, and if you feel lost or want a new perspective, this book is perfect for you. Go to languagesimp.com and use code Dutch at checkout for $5 off.
Dutch,
That's
guys.
languagesimp.com, or click the link in the description and use code Dutch for $5 off the Hyperpolyglot Handbook, a gigachad's guide to language learning today. Now it's time to talk about the dialects of the Dutch language.
Right.
There are hundreds of them, so I'll only give a broad overview. There's Dutch Dutch, spoken in the Netherlands, and then there's Flemish Dutch, spoken in Flanders, Belgium. Dutch Dutch is kinda meh, and it sounds really harsh, like a toad choking on a herring. Dutch people don't really care too much about their language, so they often disregard grammar rules. The youth doesn't even want to speak it, and it has a ton of international loan words and influence. While Flemish Dutch is awesome, and it sounds very soft and melodic like a beautiful singing bird. And Flemings are proud of their language, so they follow the rules and they allow in less international influence, except from French, because as hard as they've tried, Flanders still is not independent from the Belgian baguette people. One day, Flanders, America stands with you. Then if
Well, let me tell you this much, though. When it comes to French, I mean, I would say that all varieties of French that don't make me do maths just to say the numbers would be the ones that I would be more forgiving about, because then again, I studied French, obviously, but the problem is that in Italy, usually when we study French, and French has the 80 to say 80, which means 4 times 20. I literally have to calculate. And then 90 is 90, which is 4 times 20 plus 10. Is that normal? Why do they... Only the French do that, by the way. I don't know if they do it in Belgium, but I know they don't do it in Switzerland. They make it easier. They have a word for it, like a number. But the French, no, I have to make you calculate. And I'm like, imagine when you have to say like 783. So you have to... yeah, that.
If we zoom in, we'll see smaller dialect groups forming that sort of bleed over the border. And some are just completely different languages, which are sadly dying, because the Netherlands is so colonial that they couldn't resist the urge to colonize even themselves. So these minority languages have historically been suppressed. There's Limburgish, which basically has tones like Wu Chinese, and
Seriously, I did not know that. Tones in a European language, I'm looking into that one. I'm absolutely looking into that one at the end of the stream.
Low Saxon is rough and tough and much more similar to Low German. Then Frisian is the closest living language to Old American. Those are all definitely not Dutch. But you know what is Dutch? The Hollandic dialect found in North and South Holland, which includes Amsterdam. This dialect is what dominates the media and is the basis for the standard language in the Netherlands. And it's the one that
Why did he show Putin?
learners most often study, but you shouldn't. Hollandic is what you're thinking of when you wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat because you remembered that Dutch exists. Then there's Zeelandic, which sort of sounds nasally. It's slower than most varieties of the language, and it reminds me of how people down in Alabama speak. Next there's...
You know what's funny is that Zealand, I don't know, I've noticed that people freak out when they're like, Zealand? Yeah. If there is a New Zealand, it means that there was a Zealand somewhere in Europe. In this case, it's here. Just like there is a New York because there is a York in the northeast of England. Right? A lot of the new something is because there was that same name in a geographic location in Europe. That's how it is. And yeah, that's one of those.
Street Dutch, which is spoken by the cool kids in the city, and it incorporates some Moroccan Darija, Turkish, Berber, and a ton of American words. I love those 4 languages, so this is what I would learn. Then there's Brabantian, which is so warm and gorgeous. It's softer sounding, and it's the basis for standard Flemish spoken in Belgium. There's also something called Tussentaal, which is the informal language full of slang that Belgians use to communicate with one another on a daily basis. And this is what I recommend you learn if you're a Chad who wants to pull chicks. Then there's West...
If you're a Chad who wants to pull chicks, guys. So one thing about, you know how a thing I noticed is that, you know how oftentimes in these language reviews, which of course it's comedy, but believe it or not, his descriptions, when he says this language sounds harsh, this language is soft and melodic, this language is more like this and very fast, he actually nails those. And for the languages that I know, like when he did the one in Italian, he did the one about French, he did the one about whatever it was, Spanish, then yeah, but then he did like Arabic, so I don't know anything about Arabic, and I asked, and people were like, he's spot on. So, and even the one about Mandarin, he was pretty decent. So whenever he prepares these, I think it takes him a while, not only because he needs to work on the funny comedy sketches, but also because at the end of the day, the information he presents is simple, but it's correct. It's pretty, okay, let me see what other sections we have here. So yeah, we finished dialects, we skip the writing system, we look at the pronunciation 100%. Okay, let's go.
Flemish, which is guttural and real thick. They conjugate yes and no for some reason, and they have the Arabic sound. And finally, East Flemish is similar to West, but a little more neutered. Oh, now please, for the love of God, get me out of Europe and take me to a better, safer continent. Down in the very secure country of South Africa,
he did that. He knows what he's doing. He did that to upset. I know why he said that. Higashi, thank you for the support. Aibo, what's up, brother? Gonna tap in while closing work. Azaz, gonna have a beer after work. Nice. What's your favorite beer? My favorite beer? Ooh, I don't know, but usually I like Belgian beers, Belgian chocolate and Belgian beers. But if not, I'm not sure. Aldo says I'm in South Africa. Very cool to have you here. Nice. Let me see. New York was initially called New Amsterdam. Right, yep. Funny thing, I never realized how weird it is until someone learning the language pointed it out, says French. It makes sense. Yeah, sure.
They speak a language I'm sure y'all have all heard of, Afrikaans. Yeah. Every single scholar with a brain says that Afrikaans is a separate language from Dutch, but I'm not a scholar with a brain. I think they're too similar, and I believe that Afrikaans is a better...
That there is clearly a connection there. I remember because I had a classmate from South Africa, who spoke Afrikaans, and then he managed to interact a little bit with a Dutch speaker once. It wasn't like perfect, but they could also, because his Afrikaans wasn't great. I think it depends on the person. Maybe someone who's actually fluent in Afrikaans, who knows how well they could. If you know, let me know.
Better, simpler, and more efficient dialect of Dutch. Or maybe Dutch is a dialect of Afrikaans. We'll go with that. And then finally, in the greatest American state, a dialect called Pennsylvania Dutch is spoken by about 300,000 NPCs. But this is actually a dialect of German. They just call it Dutch to troll monolingual betas. Also in Tariff Land, one of our presidents spoke Dutch. No, not her. God, she should have had it. No, I mean Martin Van Buren. And
Really?
Dutch was his native language. What a traitor. Now it's time to talk about the writing system.
Believe it or not, a lot of the founding fathers, they read the classics. And yeah, I wonder how many languages they would speak. Because back in the day, I would say language learning in the, very educated, in fact.
System. The Dutch language is written in an exact plagiarized copy of the American alphabet, which honestly offends me quite a bit. What are you doing? Just trying to make the C rise faster? They've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, I, J, Y, and Z. Wait a second, what was
IJ?
that one? Yeah, that one. Isn't that 2 letters?
Man, it looks like, Higashi, you're here. It looks like ri in hiragana, doesn't it?
Canker. You can't smush them together and act like they're one. I hate this so much. Dutch people will swear that it's not a letter, but they sure act like it's one. It makes a specific sound as a unit, like A, and if they're at the start of a sentence, they'll capitalize both of them. So that reeks of a letter to me. But at least the lore behind why it exists is heartwarming. You see, one day, the I was biking along the canals in Amsterdam when he flipped his black gazelle Omafiets over a stroopwafel and fell right into Jay, who was also a man. They went to get some friet met mayo under a windmill, split the bill 50-50 Dutch style, fell in love, and sewed themselves together. Then they died. True story, I was the windmill. But apart from that monstrosity, the alphabet has some other quirks. For example, Holland copied a bit of Poland's homework as the J makes a Y sound like yeah 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 yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Polska Górum. Then the V makes an F sound and the W makes a V sound.
Yeah, that makes it sound very Germanic, very German. V and W pronounced like that.
Just like they do in German.
Yeah.
Plagiarism. And rather
Plagiarism.
embarrassingly, the U makes the same difficult sound that the French have. But
Gay you. By the way, talking about that U sound in French, let me tell you, this is a trick. It's talking about the U sound. There is a trick, like in une, okay? It's not une, it's une. U. There is a trick to do it. If you're like someone who's like, oh, I don't know how to do that, you will know after this. Here's the trick. Put the mouth, your mouth, in the same position as when you pronounce the letter U, U. Okay, so you look at this, U, U. And in this mouth position, try and pronounce a I. U, 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 une. You're welcome. Lui. You're welcome.
But the R totally redeems the entire alphabet. It's supposed to be a little rolly like R or guttural like r, but some Dutchies let freedom ring and pronounce it just like an American would. Raise those tariffs. It's interesting. You'll hear the American R a lot from young Dutch people who are slowly drifting away from their language in favor of American, which honestly is kind of tragic, but at the same time,
fuck yeah, America.
However, the most baffling letter I may have ever seen in any language in the Milky Way galaxy is the Dutch G.
Yeah.
Is it a good?
Okay, guys. Here we have it. Here we have it. In 3, 2, 1.
Is it a je? No, it's a ha. It's an
Yeah.
extremely harsh noise that reminds me of someone puking or a giant dying hippopotamus taking its last breath, and it genuinely hurts my throat.
Me too. Me
And
too.
I'm not the only person to report discomfort or
Come
even
do it.
pharyngitis after practicing it. I'm scared to ask this, but you know how American babies say goo goo gaga? Do Dutch babies say hoo hoo ha ha? Or are they too busy colonizing Indonesia to say anything? Thankfully, Belgians do not tend to make this harsh G sound. It's
And again, there are some regions in Holland, I was going to say Dutchland, in Holland that doesn't have that sound. But yeah.
A lot closer to an H in their dialect, so I guess Belgian babies would be like, hoo ha ha. Dutch also has some accent markers, but they're not really important. My favorite though is the diaresis that looks like two balls floating on top of a letter. Basically, you put the diarrhea there and it separates the vowels into two syllables. Vowels are kind of jarring in Dutch. Like, just look at this goofy looking word.
Holy mother of... I don't know. Zeendoyegen? No. Zeendoyegen? I have no idea. No idea.
Word with a ton of double vowels. When they're doubled, they make a long vowel sound, and it's actually satisfying to look at. But what isn't satisfying...
So a bit like Old English. Because in Old English, you know how the double O in modern English sounds like... It depends on the word, but you have like... moon or book, right? You have different, it's kind of a ooh or a ooh, it depends on the sound, but whatever, you know what I mean. It's not like you say balk and mon, but they did in Anglo-Saxon. And you do still have a remnant of that, even though now it sounds weird to say, I guess. But then again, you know, it's more weird in the modern period, because in the modern period you say moon, you say book, you say blood. And why on earth is it a then? So already the modern version is actually crazier. But if you think, oh, come on, they can't say balk. Well, you say door and floor. So you still have a remnant of that. That doesn't sound weird, does it? So, yeah, definitely. Old and Middle English had a lot more consistent spelling, absolutely. And the K wasn't silent in, like, night, which is great. No, actually, it's not, because then I can't make the joke. Because it becomes kneicht or knicht at the very beginning. Knecht after the beginning, the first stages of the great vowel shift, which is still a thing in Scotland, by the way. In some areas, they still maintain that vowel pronunciation. But as I say, it's not a good thing that they were pronouncing the K, because then I can't make the joke that my helmet is my pajamas so that I can have a good night's sleep.
Satisfying are the many diphthongies found in this language. If you're American or uneducated, what's the difference? A diphthong is basically when you make a vowel sound and midway through it you transition your gender and switch to another vowel sound, like in the word moist. Gender. Moist. Oi.
Moist critical.
There are a lot of these in Dutch, and there are even triphthongs, but most are unremarkable. However, this diphthong is 99% responsible for the stereotypical, iconic hargelbargel met horkenscheigel sound that the Dutch language has. It makes the oh sound, which I can kinda do, but I sound like I'm whining like a loser, and I think I make it too nasally. Oh. But how does Dutch sound in general? What's the vibe like, Mocker? Well, a lot of people online claim that
Oh, no, wait. Which European language sounds the ugliest? Oh, poor Dutch people. At least I'm not Dutch. There is a Reddit. Well, Reddit is a cesspool, though. It's full of people that all they do is hate. Unless it's like IT. IT subreddits are pretty good. When you're like, hey, how do I plug in my graphic card from 1987? Those are pretty nice. Yeah. Opinion about the Dutch language. Yeah, worse sounding. Oh, no.
It's one of the ugliest languages in the observable universe, and it'll put you in the hospital and require you to get multiple throat replacements, but it's not ugly. It's goofy, but melodic at the same time, and I enjoy listening to people speak it, especially this little guy. He's like the Naruto of the Netherlands. Also, Dutch music is surprisingly really fire. My favorite artist to listen to is Snolabolicus, who is basically the Tupac of the Netherlands.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone sing in Dutch in my life.
Then I also like the Europapa guy, who is basically just an Eminem tribute act. But unfortunately, mainstream Dutch culture is just a bunch of gabbers listening to boom 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 for 4 days straight without sleeping. But in stark contrast to everything we've witnessed thus far, Dutch vocab is extremely normal.
Nice. I want to watch a little bit of this, skip grammar, and we check the rating. Let's
Just kidding, it's like the most goofiest thing you'll ever see in your life. Many people online claim that Dutch is not a serious language, but I'd go further and argue that it's not a real language. Just look at this tweet, or excretion, or whatever you call it these days. I don't even know what to say. The chest speaks for itself. I promise, this screenshot is real. And let's take a look at who wrote this tweet. Geert Wilders. At a certain point in history, Geert was expected to become Prime Minister of the Netherlands, but instead my dude Dick Schoof stepped up to the plate. What are these...
How is Dick a name? And why is it Richard? I will never understand it. I do like the game Dick Tracy though. That was a great game from the 90s. Do you guys remember that? Tried learning Dutch for about a week. Pronunciation alone was a struggle. Yeah, I tried pronouncing a couple of words and I had a sore throat. Gave up once I got to grammar. Oh no. Oh, he says we have a serious problem. You're German, so you understand. Very cool, Adrian. Thank you for that. You remember the show? Yeah, I don't know what the Richard Dick thing is. Although then again, we have things like that in Italian too, so I can't really blame you for it. For instance, sometimes Salvatore is shortened into Toti. It can be shortened into Salvo, of course. Turi. Is Turi Salvatore? Maybe. I haven't got a clue. Anyways, we've got some weird ones. Dick Tracy on Mega Drive. I have it. AK, physical. Copy. I'll show you when we are done with this.
Names. I think Geert and Dick should kiss. But I don't know how you do it, Dick. I personally would never want to be Prime Minister of the Netherlands, since the Dutch people once killed and ate their own Prime Minister back in the day. There are so many other examples of this language trolling Americans, like Die man is dude, or my personal favorite,
Mijn vader is dokter.
I guess they're allowed to plagiarize our language since New York originally was Neo Amsterdam after all. The Dutchies love silly maxing. Want to know how to say baseball in Dutch?
Right.
I know you don't, but I'm gonna tell you, it's honkball. Who wants to play a game of honkball?
Honkball. Honkball. I'm gonna call it honkball from now on. It's gonna be great.
Are any geese watching this video? Let's pick teams in the comments. Also, the word for dog breeder really grosses me out, like to the point where I won't even say it on camera, so just check the comments. I'm sure someone said it by now. Even trying to be
He didn't like it. How do you say dog breeder? Well, oh yeah, there we go. Oh no. I see. I understand.
polite in Dutch sounds goofy. To formally ask someone to do something, you say...
Oh, wow.
Kunt u dat doen? However, just because things are silly doesn't mean that they're hard. Dutch is one of the easiest languages to learn on the planet. And if you start Dutch today, you'll want to first learn a greeting. One of the most common ones is...
Kindercarnavalsoptochtvoorbereidingswerkzaamheden.
Oh no, that's wrong. That is a real compound word, but I actually meant goedemorgen.
Oh yeah.
Then how are you is hoe gaat het? And if you speak German, boy, will this be even easier for you. Almost 70% of...
There we go, like you were saying, like you can still understand it. Yeah. This is funny though.
Femboy German words have a very similar equivalent in real German. And if you look at the same word in both languages,
So let me see. I guess Water, Wasser, Kat, Katze. I don't know how they read this. Schule, I think. Well, you'll tell me, you're German. I mean, you can recognize them, yeah, sure.
7 times out of 10, the word is much easier in Dutch. And pure native Dutch words aren't complicated either. Dutch people love feet. Which is the native word for bicycle. If they could marry their feet, they would. Although one thing that is very confusing are these words, which you'll hear all the time. Nederland is the name of the country. Nederlands is the name of the language found in Nederland. Nederlandse is a woman from Nederland who probably speaks Nederlands. And Nederlander is a man from Nederland who probably speaks Nederlands and could perhaps be married to a Nederlandse or another Nederlander or multiple Nederlanders. Polygamy is illegal in the Netherlands, but I deadass think I found a loophole, so if you're interested, email me. It's on my channel somewhere, the email, if you want to email me about polygamy. Another interesting thing about Dutch...
If you want to email me about polygamy, let me see I want to see a little bit of the shock factor, and then we finish with rating. I'm skipping these sections for whoever is interested.
Now it's time to talk about shock factor.
Please.
How will native Dutch speakers react to you speaking their language as a foreigner? Well, if you walk up to a Dutch person in the Netherlands, first of all, you're going to get absolutely height-mogged. Even though their country is low, these people are very high. But yeah, if you somehow manage to get eye level with them and you speak Dutch to a Dutch person, they're going to immediately switch to American and embarrass you. It will...
I mean, I can see that. I can absolutely see that. It's so strange, but that's something that happens. It depends on the country, though. But I do have a feeling that that's exactly what's going to happen. Like, I can see it.
Feel like you're about to make the easiest open layup of your life, but LeBron James, or let's call him Leon Brown Jansen, comes out of nowhere and blocks your shot back into your face at the last second. Dutchies will not, under any circumstances, speak Dutch with you. They speak American better than Americans, either with a terrible accent or with one that is indistinguishable from that of a native. There's no in between. In fact, I've met Dutch people who speak American better than they speak their own lingo. It feels like Dutch people aren't really proud of their language like a lot of other people.
What he just said, I've seen it happen sometimes in some Scandinavian countries, like when they either speak English and they have no accent, or they have the thickest accent you can impose. I have to say, I don't know if I've ever met someone in between, but usually Nordic people speak a very, very good English, usually. But I've met people like they had the thickest accent ever. So, but they still speak it though. So like if you compare it to Southern Europe, there's still a higher percentage of people that do reach fluency. Although then again, the situation has got better now than when I was a kid in Italy. But yeah, the youth now in Italy, I have to say, you'll find a lot of kids that speak English. But when I was a child, not so much, no. Okay, let's see the rating, guys. Let's see. Let's go.
Universe. There's so much more I could say about this language, but frankly, I don't want to talk about it anymore, so it's time I give Dutch an official language simp certified rating.
Come on, it's even orange. He's got to give it beta. It's orange.
On the simp scale. On a scale of dog water to Giga Chad, I place Dutch solidly in... Don't forget to use code Dutch at checkout to get $5 off the Hyperpolyglot Handbook, link in description. The beta tier.
I knew it. I knew it, man. Come on. I got it, guys. I knew it. I watched too many. GG.
The Dutch language just honestly isn't that exciting to me. Learning it unlocks barely any DLC, and it kind of feels like it's dying even in the country where it comes from. The Netherlands is either going to be completely underwater like Atlantis in 3 weeks, or it's going to be an Americaphone country. And German is right there next door, just begging to be learned. Plus, learning German won't physically injure you, but if you learn Dutch, you'll need throat replacements and probably therapy. As a Native American speaker, it's a little hard to take serious sometimes. But
did he say Native American speaker? Yeah, he did. Man, this guy.
I guess someone from China who doesn't speak English wouldn't think this is funny, so I acknowledge that I'm biased.
她很漂亮，她很美丽。
I will admit that Dutch sounds very cute and endearing, and most women in the universe think it's a sexy language. But it's also one of the easiest in the galaxy for Native Americans, so I guess if you want to dabble, I'm not going to judge you. But with all that being said, I will learn Dutch one day. Just kidding, I would rather someone give me a Dutch oven. If you know what that is, you might have laughed. If you don't, look up Dutch oven slang. And that's the video. Don't forget...
GG, it was fun. Yeah, it was pretty good. I gotta give him it. So, French is still number 1. French, yeah, I was right. I knew it. It was gonna put it in beta, and then after I even thought about it, I'm like, and it's orange. There's no way it's gonna pass it. It's gonna be put in beta. I knew it. So let me think. Right now, I'm still putting French as number 1, and yeah. That one is still unsurpassable. I don't know if you can surpass it. That one was too funny. And if you want to watch me react to all the others, by the way, if you write language simp Metatron, it's very simple. You find it. All of my reactions, and you find them on my language channel. Ooh, the one about, oh gosh, I got 100,000 views on that one. Goodness gracious, how did I do that? It's the second channel, whatever. I mean, thanks to him, obviously. Yeah, the Brazilian one was great as well. So, yeah. He has done. I think I reacted to all of them, to be honest, up to this point, probably, because it's just too funny. It's just too funny. It's pretty good. So, yeah, that was nice. French is the language of love. And, no, I'm not going to Google that. I know the guy well enough, his content, to not Google what he tells me to Google. It's time, guys. I'm unboxing this. Man, Matt, we need some music. We need some Ken music. How about that? We need some music, ladies and gentlemen. Before we move to this, so Ken Street Fighter music. I know this is alpha, but when someone names Ken, I can't resist. Well, I should do alpha. Come on. Street Fighter Alpha, let's get some Ken music. Let's go. What a variety stream. What a variety. Yeah, Mortal Kombat is pretty good, Jabber. We'll have to do some Sub-Zero one of these days. Sub-Zero. Okay, what have we got? Bam, bam. Where is it? It is Street Fighter, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, let's celebrate that copy claim for the music. Let's go. Copy claim, copy claim. Yellow is my color. Okay. So it comes with a stand. It comes with this. I don't know what this is for. Here is the man. Woohoo! Alright, so what does it come? Well, let me see. Nice. Look at this. Look at the muscularity. Look at this guy. Man, this is good. Look at the hair. It's almost as long as mine. Man, this is nice. This is nice. Man, the guy's been training. So far, I'll tell you, this is my favorite action figure. Like, look at that. You can give him in honor of Higashi martial arts here. Give him a nice proper. How about the kick? Let's see the Mawashi Geri. Let's go for a Mawashi, but I'm gonna go Kyokushin style. So the leg, the arm is gonna go down Kyokushin style. Pretty nice. Wow, man, we're going into Taekwondo here. Look at this. Can we do a Hadouken pose? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you need to add the Hadouken hands to do the Hadouken, but yeah, like, if he's like charging it. No, you can do it. Now I'm being lazy, but yeah, totally. Hey, where's the music? Come on. Come on, guys. Don't be Muppets. Let me just, that's good, okay. So yeah, you can do a front kick like this. How about a front kick, proper? Man, this is good. As I say, the oh, and also the jacket, the wagi, is it's a soft rubber, so this can be removed if that's what you want to do. This is pretty nice, man. I gotta say, I love Jada toys, but Storm Collectible in this case takes the cake. This is not in focus. This is good. So you can remove the jacket if you want. I'm not gonna do that because I think that's iconic, but okay, so what does it come with? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's impressive. Yeah, okay, so we got an alternative face. It's the grin. It's like he's laughing. Let me see if I can. Of course not. But anyways, he's like laughing. This is kind of cool, actually. Very confident face. Here he's being a little serious. We got Hadoken hand. Oh, the hands are soft rubber. So we got a Hadoken hands. I'm probably gonna give him the Hadoken hands. So that's both for the Hadoken. And then we have the victory sign hand. Victory sign. Pretty good. And this is like he's holding something, but I don't know what. No idea. Okay. Then we have this. What this is that you can attach it to his fist, so you can do the Shoryuken. And that's the, one second. There we go. So you can do the flame Shoryuken. Let me see what that would look like. Like imagine we are mounting, usually when he does the Shoryuken, he goes like this. And this one goes a little bit like they charge it in, should I say we? I don't practice it now though, but like we charge it in karate, I guess. By the way, traditional karate, Kyokushin karate. Kyokushin is high. Whatever, anyways. So he's going for the Shoryuken, and you can give him the flame and attach it to the hand. Like this. And so you got the fiery Shoryuken. That's pretty cool. Man, this is nice. It wasn't expensive. I mean, comparatively. I mean, these aren't exactly cheap, but it wasn't too expensive. This was very nice. Love it. My favorite so far. We're going to put him here. So, yeah, as I was saying, what else do you get in the box? I mean, you can recreate like the little stage. So if you want to do like, I don't know, some kind of, what are they called? Diorama. And you want to use the stage, you can do it. Also, Jada Toys offers these. And that's pretty much it. I'm not going to use a stand because I think that these look nicer without a stand. And again, I also love that you get the picture of Ken from Alpha or Zero. I think the Zero is in the West, right? Or at least in America, maybe that's what it's called. Yeah, you can do Tatsumaki Senpukyaku. Lots of possible poses. This is nice. I have to say, this is my favorite so far. So I have to start wasting some money on more Jada collectibles. So let's just put him here so we have him next to us. There you go. Yeah. Let me compare the height with a Jada toy. I'll be right back. Also because I promised one of you to show you the, what is it called? Dick Tracy. So 1 second. What a stream. All right, so should be here. There we go. Yeah. Here it is. This is the Mega Drive version. So if you played the Genesis, it would look different. But that's the one I had when I was a kid. Great game. Great game. Anyways, we've got Guile and Ken from Jada. So if we look, Guile and Ken. So Guile is significant. It's kind of taller, but the size is comparable. If we do regular Ken, yeah, I think they could be. You could totally do both, like show the size is basically the same. Yeah, so they look good. I could have maybe compared it with one of the girls that I've got in the back. I've got Chun-Li and Cammy, but in general, fantastic. So far, this is my favorite of the action figures that I have, and I must say, quality-wise, I know that Storm collectibles are a little more expensive, but this looks great. And you can detach the belt. That's how you remove this. You like disconnect it. It's got a little pin. Disconnect, remove the belt, remove the jacket. So that's something you can do. Unfortunately, you can't do that with Chun-Li. Sorry, guys. Sorry. It's just one of those things. Priorities in life, I guess. Okay, you can't have everything, can you? That's why we've got mods, am I right? All right, man. Just there we go. Stay in place. Nice. That's what I... Very cool. Very cool. Let me see what chat is doing. Let's see how chat is doing. I'm gonna move chat back here. Let's have a look at chat. What is chat doing? What is chat thing? Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, Dick Tracy was like set in the, I think maybe set in the 50s, to be honest. Maybe Dick Tracy was set in the 50s. It's a 90s game set in the 50s, yeah. I will be playing some Dick Tracy one of these days. I do, because I love playing old school games on the gaming channel. Chun-Li, thick thighs save lives. That's difficult to say, thick thighs. Thick thighs, can't say it. Do you read the Greek Reporter? No, not really. Don't remember reading that. Hey, Kristen, good to have you here. So, yeah. Is he Shoryuken? Yeah, Shoryuken. Punch of the Rising Dragon, I think you could translate it. You have done some karate or Japanese jiu-jitsu? I have done Kyokushin karate. I practice Kyokushin karate, yeah. I mean, first I practiced a few years of Shotokan, and then I switched to Kyokushinkai. But I'm not very good at it. When I practiced Kyokushinkai, though, I did it in Japan, so at least that gave it an even higher level of authenticity. Although then again, you can play, it's the same. It's the same. The only thing that is different, though, is that, do you remember, if you have ever practiced karate anywhere, whether it be America, Europe, whatever you want, there is this myth that all karate sensei repeat, and they tell you, oh, the commands like maegeri, mawashigeri, yokogeri, all of that, all the gyakutsuki, all the names of the moves, they're like, oh no, we teach you all of those in Japanese, and then the numbers, each ni, so that we do it so that if there is a Japanese teacher, or if we practice with a Japanese, then you can understand the lesson. That's nonsense. Nonsense. It's a myth. It's nonsense. You know how I know? Because I moved to Japan and I started practicing karate and kendo in Japan. What you expect when they tell you this? You expect that the lesson, when the sensei, the Japanese karate sensei is like teaching, and you expect him to go ich, ni, san, shi, and everyone goes like, right? And then he tells you mawashigeri, and so you understand, oh, that's the roundhouse, and he goes again, ich, ni. That's what you expect. Do you want to know what an actual karate, I've done it for years in Japan. Do you want to know what an actual Japanese sensei during a lesson, how it goes? It goes like this. He starts and he's like, そうですね。これからは、あなたの相手は、もうその攻撃をしたら、じゃあ、その時にぜひ、その回し蹴りをしたらしちゃダメだから、ぜひぜひ、その前蹴りをしために。That's what he does. So you understand absolutely nothing if you don't speak Japanese, which I do. But yeah, so nonsense. You cannot understand the Japanese lesson of karate if you don't know Japanese. The only thing you'll understand are the numbers. And yes, you'll understand the move, I guess. But then that's how they teach it. That's how they teach it. Like they literally speak. They'll tell you, okay, so when your opponent comes closer to you and he's going for a mawashigeri or so a roundhouse, what you need to do is before you intercept it, you block it like this. That's how they do it. Just like anyone would. It's just that for some reasons I did think that way because I'm like, oh yeah, makes sense. Absolutely, yeah. So one day, but luckily I speak Japanese. Luckily. So when they were, other than again, when I first started, I was like kind of fresh from university. So it's not like a university that exactly teaching me terms like aite, which is your kind of opponent. It's not like that's a word you learn at university, but put in context, I guess I kind of understood it. Plus sometimes you hear it in like anime. You do hear that. But I'm just saying, that's how it is. That's how it is. So like it's nonsense, this idea. And then again, I also went a couple of lessons of judo just for fun. Same thing. They'll just, yeah. And kendo, yeah, I mean, kendo was interesting because at the end of the lesson, following the lesson wasn't too bad because at the end of the day, you're still mimicking. So I guess even if you don't speak fluent Japanese, you can try and mimic and kind of follow along. But at the end of the lesson, what the students did is that they would, like the sensei would sit on Caesar, right? So when they sit on their knees. So the sensei is sitting on Caesar, he's still wearing the thing, but he removed the headgear, the bogu. And then all students, they would go in front of him, they would do the full, this like the bow, but the one on the floor, and then they would just receive instructions because the lesson was over, they had the fighting, and then the sensei would just tell you, and you need to, I mean, usually I could follow him along. At first it was a little difficult because he would speak very fast, but also because that's a characteristic, by the way, of martial art people in Japan. They don't speak much, but when they do, they speak fast. It must be something that has to do with the training, the martial mentality, I think. Men of few words, and when they use them, they're effective, they're quick. At least in my experience, that's how it was most of the times. And but again, I did 3 years of kendo in Japan, so I did get to a point where I could understand whatever the sensei was saying, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's not like he's going to start speaking about astronomy, right? And the Copernican, whatever it is, and mathematics. So eventually, if you keep doing something, you'll pick it up. But yeah, it's one of those things I just wanted to address, because I do remember being told that, you don't even really learn the numbers, because numbers in Japanese are extremely difficult, right? So yeah, when you practice it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is how you learn it. Those are numbers in the martial context. Very different to how they count in any other context in Japan. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Isn't it? Hey, Higashi Martial Art. Kyodai, that means brother, by the way, for those who don't know. Find an MMA gym near you, and one day I'll go and we can train. Great video idea. Yeah, that would be cool, but I just don't have time. Like, there are a lot of martial arts that I would like to do. I would like to pick up karate again, because I got up to green belt. Like, I wasn't a very high belt. I never hit black belt, and I know that, like, black belt shouldn't be considered as your ultimate goal. Black belt is when the real training begins. So black belt, from someone who actually understands karate, is something that you aim as the beginning of the serious training, not as, I'm gonna be a black belt and I'm gonna be really cool. Like, it shouldn't be the goal. But I think it's normal if you do something for many years, you're like, given blue belt is my favorite color, pissed me off that I kind of stopped before that one. And I guess with Kyokushin, because I reached green in Shotokan, which means white, yellow, orange, green, blue, brown, black, which is the standard type of coloring. Judo is the same. In fact, they are the ones who invented it. In some American context, I've seen purple and red being used. In Japanese context, I've only seen red used for very high, like 4 or 5 dan of black. Sometimes you see the red. Whatever. In Kyokushin Karate, though, they switch the colors around. And so you start with when I finished, so I stopped doing Shotokan, moved to Japan, found the Kyokushin Kai dojo, and goodness gracious, it hurts, because that one is full contact. And I told them, hey, yeah, I did karate until green. And they're like, okay, great, you can start from white, because it's a different style. Great. So I restarted from white. And then I did white, orange, because the color is different. It's white, orange, blue. Is it like green, yellow, I think? Yellow is one of the high. And then brown, black. Yeah, I think that's correct. I think that's how it is. So in Kyokushin Karate, they just thought they wanted to be special and swap the colors around. So I guess it would be easier to get blue with that one if I went. But that one hurts. Goodness gracious. Both Kyokushin Kai and Seido Kaikan really hurt. I'm just being honest with you. What do I think about Thai box? I think Thai box is legit. I have a lot of respect for Thai boxers. Legit. In fact, the Kyokushin and Thai and Muay Thai, they often do fights between them. Although I have to be honest, they do them with Kyokushin rules, which I think is nonsense. As a Kyokushin guy, I tell you, I think that's wrong. Because Kyokushin rules means you're not allowed to punch the face, which is bad for it penalizes the Thai boxer, because he's used to that. His muscle memory is used to that. So I don't think it's fair. I think they should do it with Thai box rules, with Muay Thai rules, not Kyokushin rules, but that's just me. You hate the belt system? I love the belt system. You say it's just a system to take money. In McDojos, yes. But in traditional martial arts, no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a good way to see the progress of, and also give kind of tests so the students kind of stay focused on a path. I don't think there's anything wrong. I think they're cool. Plus, they're nice. Yeah. Hey, Jeffersonian, thank you very much for the support. Speaking of language, you gave me a tip for Spanish recently, which has really helped. Additionally, I'm planning to spend a significant amount of time in Mexico next year, so that should help a lot. Absolutely. Try to make sure you mingle with people, with natives. Don't go there and speak your first language. Go there and use every opportunity that you can to use the language, the target language, but be polite about it, because I've seen people do that. And like, for instance, they go to Japan. I noticed that when I was in Japan, maybe the Japanese is not great, but they want to practice it. So they speak Japanese. And when you are fluent, the Japanese speak back in Japanese to you. But when you're not, they will do the thing where they try to speak English back to make it easier for you. And I've noticed that some foreigners, they will kind of force the hand and keep trying to speak Japanese. But it's, what I did, this happened only at the beginning after they figured out that I was living there, so I would just use Japanese. But in general, if I speak Japanese and say a Japanese local decides to speak a little Italian with me, or it wants to try a little English, I will speak back to them. But then, so that at least I make them happy a little bit. So like, ah, parli italiano, bravo, buongiorno. It's like, I'll do that, so they're happy that they did that. And then I'll kind of revert back to Japanese, but at least give them something. That's these are little nuance, little things that you learn as you move to other countries, and you see what works best in order to leave the person that you're having an interaction with the most positive experience when it comes to dealing with you. And that's what I would suggest. Thank you, Rafael. What do you think of the idea perpetuated in some countries that you're not supposed to wash your karate belt ever? Oh, I heard of that. It's a thing. I've seen it. Yeah, I think it's disgusting and also a myth. Yeah, no, I think it's silly. Personally, I understand when you have someone who is like a 6th dan, 5th dan, and you can tell that the belt has gone gray or some area because it's been used. I don't think they need to buy a new one, because it kind of represents the idea, well, this guy's been doing this for a long time. But the idea of not washing it is kind of silly, yeah. It's a matter of respect. Yeah, it's also a matter of like having a positive interaction. I think with the natives, also because if you are moving there will be so many opportunities to speak that the one time that the one guy tries to speak Italian with me, I'll give him a little Italian at least. And then if he is struggling, then yeah, I can revert back to Japanese. Yeah. Baby steps, absolutely. Yeah, sure. You say not to wash it, Higashi. What happens if you wash it then? I don't remember washing mine, but I don't think I needed to. It's not like you wear it on your skin, so it doesn't get the sweat. The blood need what blood? Goodness gracious. Although when I say what blood, in Kyokushin, I've seen situations where people were messed up. They got messed up. I did see that. Movies, I agree. Music, it depends. Music, it depends. So, but at the end of the day, anything you enjoy is a good way to learn a language. I'll give you that. Like, you mean that if you wash it, it loses the consistency, maybe? The fabric gets a little weirded? It discolor. Okay, I see. Then it's better not to wash it. But again, I don't remember a situation when I needed to wash one. I honestly don't. And it's not like you're going to wear... The only one I could see that happening is a white belt, but in theory, you shouldn't wear it for too long. Yeah, some of these are real gladiators. Yeah, this is all real iconography, absolutely. This is all real iconography. Not all of it, but yeah. That doesn't surprise me, Ginger, that you learned more English through movies and music than school. Schools oftentimes is terrible. Also because I've seen situations where the English teacher didn't know English. So good luck teaching it. Like literally. Yeah, you're right, Melanie. You're asking what are your tips for learning classical Latin. There is no Roman TV. You're right. There are 14,000 speakers of classical Latin. So a good way would be to find one of those groups that, like, you could Google it, like, where can I find speakers of Latin? And usually they have like these blogs, or they have like these Facebook groups where you can go and try to learn. Like, imagine you're learning a conversation, speak to someone who's either that, or watch the channel Scorpio Martianus on YouTube and Polymathy run by Luke Ranieri. Is an excellent source of information. There are a couple of books that are good as well, but in general, I would say whether it's a living language or a dead language, the best way to learn it is to speak it. It is always. That's why the one thing that I disagreed the other day when we were watching that video that I reacted to with the guy that had the secret technique to reach fluency super fast, but then at one point he said, but don't speak it. For the first 6 months, don't speak it. That's nonsense. You have to speak. It's the best way, is to speak. At least pronounce. I'm not saying engage in a conversation with a native. Yeah, I understand that's daunting. And at first you don't feel confident, that's fine. But I'm saying if I'm learning a word, if I'm learning the word for telephone, right? For this, in Chinese it's 手机. If I just read it, it's okay. You're not building the muscle memory. At least, not to mention, you probably pronounce it wrong if you don't at least say it a few times. And then when you do need to say it, like it happened once, I was in New York with my wife and we were visiting Chinatown because our hotel was in Chinatown. So we went to this, I don't remember, it was a tea shop, and we were getting some tea, and there was a bunch of Chinese kids. And then the kids left, but they forgot their iPhone. So I picked up the iPhone and went after them. They were speaking Chinese, and I said, 请问你忘了你的手机? Which means, sorry, excuse me, you forgot your phone. And it came out quickly because I pronounced it a million times on my own. If the moment of interaction is the first time you're pronouncing something out loud, you will fail. It's just how it is. 电脑 is my computer, for example, whatever. I'm just saying words now, but it's, yeah, you gotta say it. You have to speak them out loud. Can you link that channel? Absolutely. I'll do it right now. 1 second. So Scorpio Martianus, maybe it's a little advanced on some things, but it's still a great channel. So I'll give you the link here. Good friend of mine. We actually had dinner together in Rome and a couple of beers. Very cool guy, Scorpio Martianus. And then he also has Polymathy, the difference being that Scorpio Martianus is entirely in Latin, the whole channel, whereas Polymathy, he speaks English, but he talks about Latin. So maybe you might be a bit more comfortable with this one, but as always, this is highly recommended for any student of language. You're very welcome, Melanie, absolutely. So have a good one. You got a lot of content to watch. He is the guy that I go to when I don't know something in either Latin or ancient Greek, just so you know. He's the guy I go to. I go to him and I say, hey, how do you say this? Is this pronounced right? I ask him. So very good source of information. Yeah. You sub to his second one? Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, he's good. Totally. So guys, you know what I found? And I think I'll probably play it. I mean, tonight is a possibility, but I think it's going to be tomorrow. I found a game, guys, and it's the most terrifying horror game experience that anyone could ever imagine. I don't even know how it's legal, but I'm going to go through it with you. I'm just saying, I don't think that it's not about ghosts. It's not about zombies. It's not about, I don't even know if I can say it without getting demonetized, but really, I don't think there is anything. I found the ultimate. I'll show you right now, but get ready though. If you've got kids watching, put them to bed, because this is This is insane, guys. I'm risking just by typing it. So I found this game and I'm gonna play it for you. Okay? Are you ready? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Guys. No. Like, I don't know. I have to really... I'm gonna have to pray. I'm gonna need some, like, Catholic candles right next to me. Pineapple on pizza? Horror game about pineapple on pizza. I mean, I don't know. I can try. Okay? I can try. But I can't make promises, guys. I can't make promises because this is what horror is all about. This is what horror is all about, guys. I hate pineapple on pizza. Oh my gosh. Pizza. They dare call it a pizza with the pineapple. I don't know, guys. This is gonna be... Do I need help to sleep? Yeah, I know. OMG, this is a blasphemy of a game. This is a blasphemy of a game. Pineapple on pizza is a horror game. Yeah, I mean, stay tuned, I guess. Because I will be going through this experience for you. I'll scream. I know I will. And it's going to happen tomorrow. Pineapple on pizza horror game. It's going to happen tomorrow, guys. And just call it a dessert, I agree. I absolutely agree. But anyways, if this, who cares about the demon here? If this, oh my gosh, next to the freaking pepperoni pineapple. Pineapple pepperoni. I mean, if this is not a jump scare, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. That would be great, says Dreamheart. I know. How is that even permitted? I'm going to need a therapy. I'm going to need therapy. I'm going to need therapy after this one. PTSD. It's going to be a disaster. But I guess it's just one of those things, guys. Anyways, I think tonight I'm going to call it an early night since I'm a little, as I was telling you today, I just couldn't, yes, I'm going to sleep well. So today I'm a little tired and I think I'm going to call it a little bit of a shorter stream. I hope you don't mind. But I've told you, tomorrow, get ready for the Metatron. Will face his fears for you. 5 Central Daylight Time. I mean, we might be looking at other things first. But at 5 we start the stream. We see a couple of things. Boom. Pineapple on pizza, Metatron. Horror game. Pineapple on pizza. Tomorrow. I'm gonna remind you on the community tab. Thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna need to kind of rest tonight because I'm a little tired. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining the stream. Thank you for your generosity with the super chats and memberships. I hope you have a great night. Goodbye, noble ones. Have a good one. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao.